It's Championship Monday on SoCalCollegeSports.com. Final day of the 2018 3C2A baseball final. Sac City and San Joaquin Delta will duke it out starting at 11 a.m. About 15 minutes from now, join myself, Mike Cepeda, Jeff Stoynoff, Tony Barbone, Emery Johnson on the call.
Boy, give me the battery, the big battery, camera battery.
And coming up in about 5 minutes, we will have the first pitch, Championship Monday, Sacramento City and San Joaquin Delta for the 2018 3C2A Baseball Championship. Watch Reed Peters and Derek Sullivan meeting at home plate. We're just moments away from first pitch in Game 6. The 3C2A Baseball Championship on the line, San Joaquin Delta and Sacramento City College. The Panthers take the field. They will be the home team in Game 6. We welcome you back to SoCalCollegeSports.com's coverage of the 3C2A Baseball Championship. Jeff Stoynoff, Mike Cepeda, the entire SoCal College Sports team. And that would include, of course, Tony Barbone joining us once again. Bones, glad to have you back here. Day 3, and a lot on the line here for two teams. And obviously, I think you have to look in this scenario and advantage Mustangs. One win here, and they're going to get it done.
Well, absolutely. I mean, it's been a grueling, grinding. You know, I think last night we named the booth the Glow Stick Diaries. You know, we were living by a glow stick last night. I mean, even all the drive-throughs, the 24-hour drive-throughs were closed last night. But I mean, Sac City, you know, they got to be a little breakfast club. They got to get up a little earlier, having a short night of rest. But advantage Delta. But I think one of the things that we need to touch on, Jeff, before we start is we need to remember that this is not just another Monday. This is Memorial Day, and none of us are here without the service and dedication of many. And so when you're resting and, of course, listening to the broadcast on SoCal College Sports and having yourself a beverage and turning on the barbecue and resting with your family and friends, remember this is not just another Monday, and we salute those people that are listening that have done that for our country and the service to all the people and the safety to the men and women of our country across the world. So thank you.
Yeah, so much to be thankful for, and well said, Tony. And obviously, as keep in mind a very special day here in Memorial Day, and hopefully for us, a fun and exciting day of baseball here from John Eulis Ballpark at Fresno City College. An interesting dynamic as we return our attention to the matchup on the field here today, and that is something that don't see very often, but two teams from the same conference, 5th meeting of the season between these two teams. So no big secrets here. And talk a little bit from the dugout on each side how that impacts some of the decisions that you make from a coaching standpoint.
I think it might be a little bit easier, you know.
Yeah.
As you talk about, there's an adjustment in the lineup today, and left-handed starter for Sac City, so some of the left-handed bats are down for Delta, and so I think it's not a surprise. It's just that we got to be, you know, we got to be, you know, my dad can beat up your dad day, and we can go one pitch at a time. And the Delta faithful is to our left, and the Sac City faithful is to our right.
Yep.
And this is not the Big 8 championship. This is the 3C2A state championship. So welcome. And let's buckle up. We've had great games, and I'm sure we're going to have another.
You got a quick look at Matt Ornelas, who makes the start, the left-handed pitcher for Sacramento City. Makes his 9th start of the season, his 12th appearance overall, comes in with a record of 1-0 and an ERA of 3.55. And, of course, that's a Monday tradition. Phillips drives it to right center. Gunther's not going to get it. Phillip around first. Gunther with a little trouble back near the wall. And Phillip will cruise in with a leadoff double. So welcome Matt Ornelas and Sacramento City College. Phillip goes after the first pitch and laces it to right center for a leadoff double. I started to say this is another Monday tradition here at the 3C2A championship, and that is we'll get some pitchers that are not at the top of the rotation. It's going to be some of the guys who haven't had as much experience who are going to have to step up big time with sizable pressure on them here in a big day.
No question, especially for Sac City. They're deep into their staff. You know, Delta's going to be able to roll out their third starter, which they've done all year. And I think the advantage there, that's just not news that Delta hits a double.
No, knocking it around the yard, they break a few windows, don't they?
Oh, they do. I do. Don't live close to that ballpark.
Ornelas 1-0 on the season, the ERA 3.55. In 38 innings, he's given up 35 hits, walked 21, struck out 36, and he's immediately puts himself in a jam here with Phillip at second. Vujovic bunts this one in the air, but it's back and out of play, so he's still alive. No balls and 2 strikes. He'll be followed by Zach Mathis. Interestingly, Reed Peters with a left-hander on the mound for the first time in terms of opposition starter, shaking up the lineup a little bit. We'll get into that a little bit more, but McClenaghan in center, Cameron Schubert, a designated hitter, replacing Paisano and Lucchetti. But that's a little bit of old school playing the percentages, getting some right-handed bats in the lineup.
Well, that's Reed Peters. He knows what he's doing. He's got some depth, and they're not here because they're not led by a strong brain in Coach Peters.
A lot of success, as Mike Cepeda has talked about over the weekend, doing his research and 6 trips to the championship in the last 10 years for San Joaquin Delta. Bouncing ball right side, Walsh on the big hop. He'll go to first. Productive at bat for Vujovic.
Exactly, that's exactly
runner to third.
What he was trying to do, and you could see his effort was to get the ball on the right side the entire at bat. So nice job, young man.
That'll bring up Zach Mathis, a .351 hitter, 4 home runs, 59 runs batted in on the season. That total of 59, just ahead of Jake Cruz with 58 to lead the team. So Mathis gets the RBI opportunity here with a runner at third and 1 down. Meanwhile, for Coach Derek Sullivan, no changes in the lineup to speak of, as he goes with the familiar 9 that he's been, well, the familiar 8, I should say. Well, count the designated hitter. He's got Cody Gardner in left, Creed Smith in center, Jake Gunther in right, Ruben Garza at third, Joe McNamara at short, Daniel Walsh at second, Jalen Johnson at first, Brett Bello behind the plate, and Matt Ornelas on the mound. Here's the pitch, ground ball into right, a base hit. Delta grabs the early lead on a Mathis RBI single. But Johnson was a little bit off the line, Bones, and Mathis found open grass there.
And again, I think there's probably a solid scouting report. They've played each other. They've watched each other play here. Probably doesn't demonstrate pulling the ball down the line very often. They give him that spot, especially the man on third. So, and they were back giving up the run, but just a 19-hop ground ball that got through.
Yeah, it looked like off-speed pitch, and
it did.
Mathis turned on it and
he
found
got
a
inside.
hole. And the Mustangs, perfect on the weekend so far, 2-0. And they're off to a fast start here in the top of the first. That'll bring up Cruz, the big bat, in the cleanup spot. 11 home runs, 58 runs batted in, batting .330 on the season. Ornelas from the stretch, looks Mathis back. Fastball, Cruz held up. 1 ball and 1 strike. Jimmy McClenaghan getting the start in center field, waiting on deck. Ornelas from the stretch, ground ball to second, routine for Walsh. He'll go to second for 1, and they turn 2 to get out of the inning. 4-6-3. 1 run on 2 hits, no errors, nobody left through half an inning. Delta with the quick 1-0 lead. heading to the bottom of the first. And Delta grabbing a 1-0 lead in the top half. You get a look at Jonathan Pierce getting the start, the right-handed pitcher, making his 4th start of the season, his 12th appearance overall, a record of 1-0, an ERA of 3.79. He'll work to Creed Smith, leading it off. He'll be followed by Gunther and Jalen Johnson in the bottom of the first inning. 5th meeting of the season between these two teams. It's the Mustangs who have won 3 of the first 4, including our second game yesterday, Game 4, the championship, a 9-5 win to get the Mustangs within 1.
Creed Smith, who's been pretty productive the entire tournament, seems to be on base a lot against a tall right-hander, Jonathan Pye.
Indeed. Smith, 6 for 15 on the weekend coming in.
And you look at Pye, he's got more walks than strikeouts. He's had minimal innings. So they'll try and get something here out of the front end today.
Fastball from Pierce. 2 balls and a strike on Creed Smith, who comes in batting .268. 2 home runs, 21 runs batted in. So Pierce, as you would expect, in that 3rd spot, but it's been the first couple of starters for the Mustangs that have done a lot of the work. So Pierce will step up on the big stage here, 2-2. Creed Smith, but he'll be working against a lineup that he's seen a few times at least, and that's a little bit, I think, of what you were talking about. In some ways, it's a little easier.
Exactly.
Get a little familiarity across the diamond.
Well, you know what you need to do, and you just need to do it.
Here's the 2-2 to Smith, low and away.
Smith looks like he's got an above-average fastball. He needs to establish fastball command early, especially for a young man that appears to throw a few more balls than the average right-hander. So
yeah, for Pierce, 19 innings of work, 10 hits allowed, but he's walked 24 and struck out 19. So, yeah, control, I think, safe to say, going to be the major issue. And he starts Smith with a walk. And that'll bring a visit from Greeley behind the plate. He'll try to settle Pierce down as he'll go to work with Smith at first. It's Vujovic in left, Jimmy McClenaghan in center, Trent North in right. Zach Mathis at 3rd, Bo Phillip, the shortstop, Jack Walsh at 2nd. Jay Cruz at 1st, and Thomas Greeley behind the plate with Pierce on the mound. So Gunther stands in, batting .329. 1 home run, 37 runs batted in for Jake. Pierce ready, here's the pitch, on the ground and through for a base hit. A walk and a single getting things started for Sacramento City. Smith makes it to 3rd, Gunther trying to take 2nd, and he does.
Great hustle play, great hustle play.
So 2nd and 3rd as they go right to work on Pierce in the bottom of the 1st, and well, I'm going to make my first gritty Sacramento City College reference of the day here for those scoring at home, but here they come. They give up a run in the top half, but hardly rattled. They go right to work against San Joaquin Delta. They've got 2 runners in scoring position with nobody out.
Yeah, Jake was out of the box right away, but that's relative. If you watch Sac City go on and off the field between innings, they are in a dead sprint. So I think that's a credit to Derek Sullivan. This entire program's in a dead sprint. Sprint on, sprint off, and that was Jake Gunther on a 180-foot sprint all the way, thinking two, hustling. Great job.
So the batter now, Jalen Johnson. And that one off the helmet, a breaking ball, and Johnson appears to be okay and heading down to 1st. So the first 3 runners reach against Pierce, a walk, a single, and a hit batsman, and they're loaded for Cody Gardner, who comes in batting .255, a home run, 42 runs batted in. The 42 RBIs leads the team, and a golden opportunity here for Gardner to keep it going for the Panthers.
This is what you referenced earlier in the broadcast, Jeff, about your depth of your pitching staff when you get to day 3. You know, it's back to Fresno heat. It's 3C championship heat, and who can ever bring the heat from the back end of that bullpen will probably give their team a nudge forward.
Well, for Reed Peters, already has to be keeping a good eye on Pierce, who is struggling right out of the gate.
Here.
First pitch, a ball to Gardner. 1 ball, no strikes. Signs back in his designated hitter slot. Waits on deck. Pierce comes home, chop foul. A ball and a strike on Cody Gardner.
Cody Gardner, solid shortstop for Sac City. You don't get here unless you have people up the middle that can play catch. Sac City, they have that.
Gardner was 1 for 5 in the game yesterday against San Joaquin Delta. And he's had his struggles against the Mustangs overall so far this year. Bouncing ball to second. Bobbled by Walsh. He's got no play. Everybody's safe. And the shaky start continues for San Joaquin Delta. Smith scores on the play, and Walsh thinking too there, I think, Bones, and just takes his eye off it.
Well, it's the cliche is 1 for sure, don't hurry. And it looked like he lost sight of the point of catch as he was trying to deliver the ball.
Yeah, Johnson maybe coming into that field of vision, but either way, I'm sure it's a ball that Walsh will be the first to tell you that he could have and should have had.
Yeah, that was Das Boot right there. He just kicked it.
Signs the batter. It's a very strong early 80s reference. And Pierce pumps a fastball in there for a strike on Signs. Signs, we've talked about the big weekend that he is having. His average of 262, 4 home runs, 35 runs batted in. So there's danger here for Pierce. You got a guy with some power swinging a hot bat. Bases loaded. Still nobody out. The 0-1.
Remember, Signs seems to come up with a hit sign every time. This guy's done a good job this weekend. Seems to be right in the middle of the run production for Sac City just about all weekend, I believe.
McNamara waiting on deck. Pierce checks the runners. Here he comes. Ground ball right back to Walsh, this time over to second, and the double play. 4-6-3, so an immediate measure of redemption for Jack Walsh, as that ball took a funny little hop on him, and a good job staying with it. Comes up with that ball, gets it over to Phillip, over to Cruz.
Yeah, his ball security is a little better. He looked that all the way in. I think that's what he did last time, just quite didn't look it in. And took a little hop towards the right side of his chest, but he was in position and was detailed and made sure that he got that Mustang double play.
So 2 down now and a runner at third base, Jalen Johnson. And here comes Joe McNamara. So McNamara with a chance here to pick up another run with Johnson at third, but he takes a fastball for a strike. Well, we've seen a couple of times already this weekend a pitcher get a little help behind him in the form of a double play, and sometimes that is able to immediately settle them down.
Absolutely.
Help them get into a little bit of a groove. I think it's a big boost out there on the mound when you get that play behind you.
You've seen several big innings this weekend cut short by the double play, so there's a lot of friends to the pitchers here in Fresno.
Nonetheless, it's the Panthers who strike back here and keeping the sort of theme of the weekend going. Runs, runs, and more runs. And you get a run in the top half, but here comes Sacramento City with 2 in the bottom half, and they lead it 2-1. A ball and 2 strikes to count now on McNamara. Comes in batting .286, 2 home runs, 18 runs batted in. Vujovic in left, McClanagan in center, North and right. 1-2 on McNamara. Fastball low. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Mathis, Phillip, Walsh, and Cruz third to first. Greeley behind the plate. Pierce on the mound.
Get out of this with the 2-1 deficit. That'd be pretty lucky.
And obviously, plenty of reason for optimism. Swing and a miss. McNamara down on strikes. And the Mustang bats, who have been collectively at the top of the 3C2A all season will get an opportunity here in the top of the second. 2-1, Sac City on SoCalCollegeSports.com. Yeah, top of the second inning, McClanagan, Walsh, and North due up for the Mustangs, who now find themselves trailing 2-1. First pitch to McClanagan, off speed in there, I should say a little bit high for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes on McClanagan, who gets the start today, but he's appearing in his 43rd game, so he's a regular player. 412 the average, no home runs, 23 runs batted in for Jimmy McClanagan. And other than a pinch hitting appearance earlier in the weekend, this is McClanagan's first work of the weekend. And yeah, I think you're right about depth there, Bones, when you're talking about bringing a guy with a 400 average off the bench for his first start of the weekend.
It looks like there's a couple positions that Coach Peters has that depth, and he plays the right-left deal. They've only seen right-handed pitching for the most part in the tournament, and so now Jimmy comes off a bench against the southpaw.
Ornelas in there for a strike. 2 balls and a strike. The count now on McClanagan.
Might that be trivia? What's the origin of the word southpaw?
Wow, that's a great question. And I'll be very honest with you, one that I don't know the answer.
I'm surprised.
However, if we go to our chat board, we got some trivia monsters on there. High, chopper to short. McNamara is going to have to hurry. The throw across in time.
I did do some research this morning, and the people that one of the responses on Jim Palmer was Googled. I lied. It was Siri. It was Siri. And I also learned today that Siri can speak to you as an Australian female.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Or in Matt Henson's got I don't
British.
know, British male or Australian male.
Both genders are American, Australian, and British.
It does make for some fun pronunciations on a couple of words that you don't.
Had I
normally
known
hear.
that during the royal wedding, I would have had mine that way and said it was Meghan Markle that was telling me where to turn. Or what's it? And I've also come up, I think, with a new name for you based on your ties.
Well, I'm still waiting for the gift from the Barbone Foundation. This one off the top of the plate.
I gotta get home first. I gotta get home and try and find your stop. I'm gonna go with Jay Stowe.
Jay Stowe?
Yeah, Jay Stowe. Not
right.
yeah, just go with Jay Stowe. Kind of first initial rolls into your last name. You got ties.
Well, let me tell you.
You're not going button down today, though.
As far as nicknames that have been given to me, that one's up there.
Okay.
I've had worse.
I'm basing that on your style alone.
All right, there we go.
Jay Stowe.
Listen, if only I still had enough hair to slick it back to go with the tie.
Well, if you put yours and mine together, we might have like 2/3. Yeah. Riles had it going on, didn't he?
But those days have long since passed. The ball and 2 strikes on Jack Walsh. Comes in batting 183, no home runs, 15 runs batted in on the season.
Well, no more about follicles and more about the follies here at Fresno.
Curveball just outside 2-2. We talked about the double play settling down Pierce in the bottom of the inning, and Ornelas got a double play to end the top of the first, and gets to work right away on McClanahan. Now he's got a 2-2 on Walsh. So both pitchers been the beneficiary of some good glove work behind him. Ground ball to third, scooped by Garza. He'll go across to retire Walsh.
Garza back. He's like he said early in the week, he had some tough bounces. I think he's talked to that dirt over there and said, "Hey, no more on me. My turn's over."
Yeah, it's been an adventure over there for Ruben Garza, who has been, I think, safe to say in our coverage of Sacramento City, this is their 4th game of the weekend. So we've had a lot of them, and boy, Garza's had an exciting weekend.
He has. He's been busy.
Been at the plate in a lot of big moments. He's had a lot going on the field.
If he's right.
Okay, they're going to say that North didn't make the effort to get out of the way there, so this will just be a ball. And again, Dale Gardner behind the plate calling the balls and strikes, and that's an immediate call there, and I think North saw the opportunity to maybe.
Great try by North, great job by Dale.
Get to first.
It's absolutely the right call.
So Ornelas with another life here. Here's the 1-0 to North. Tries the fastball, it's low. So 2 balls, no strikes on North, who comes in batting .312, 7 home runs, 40 runs batted in.
There we go.
High and tight with the fastball. North way out in front now, 3 balls and no strikes. And well, we talk a lot about the leadoff walk and how that invariably seems to just lead directly to runs on the board. But from a coaching standpoint, what's your thought on the 2-out bases empty walk?
Well, it's almost just as poisonous.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of what I was getting at from a coaching standpoint. Say, listen, it's the likelihood that the guy's going to take it downtown here, just challenge him,
right,
and give yourself a chance here.
Well, I always say, in some situations, see how far you can hit it.
3 and
this
1,
part,
fouled
you
away.
got to hit it pretty far. So you're right. I mean, obviously with the no-out walk, you have more opportunities to get that run across. But the 2-out walk, you got tempo, tempo, tempo. Invariably 2-out walk, kick ball, 19 hopper through the middle, run. Those are the kind of innings that you see.
Yep.
And that can frustrate for sure. But he's back in the at-bat. It's 3-2. And let's see how far he can hit it.
So full count on North. Ornelas trying to come all the way back. And foul tipped. Bello couldn't quite hold it, so North still alive. 7th pitch of the at-bat upcoming, and battle going on between Ornelas and North. 2-1 here in the top of the 2nd. If San Joaquin Delta can win this one, they are your 2018 3C2A baseball champion. Sacramento City wins this one. We go back to it, I believe, 30 or 45 minutes after game time, but we get right back to it after a break, a short break, and that will have the 1-game decider for the championship.
Well, we're settled in. We're nestled into our tent.
Off speed, and North fights it off.
Henry, on your way back by the receiver for the big boy, can you power cycle it, please? Yes. It's freaking out.
Here's the payoff pitch to North, and North
Get at bat.
works the 2-out walk. That'll bring up Schubert, the designated hitter, batting .222. A home run, 10 runs batted in. North with good speed, 7 steals on the season in 8 attempts.
Left-hander, though, he's got to pick his spot. Got to work on his move and see what kind of keys he can get. Also, that left-hander, he's got to watch for those delays and those dirt balls.
Schubert takes the fastball high. 1 ball, no strikes. Schubert, much like McClanahan, getting his first work here of the weekend. In fact, I'm not sure that Schubert's had an at-bat at the check-the-box scores and see that on the weekend.
Only 81 at-bats in 51 games, so this is their 52nd game. And
yeah, Reed Peters has only gone with one pinch hitter so far in the first 2 games. D'Antoni. That was back against Mount San Antonio College. McClanagan came in as a pinch runner, and Schubert, meanwhile, gets his first action at all. 2 balls and no strikes, and he takes that one outside. Hey, you know, I think here's part of what's so insidious for about a 2-out walk is so often it just seems to take you out of the rhythm. You talk about the tempo, and now all of a sudden, when Ornelas had started to maybe find his groove, he issues a walk on a good at-bat by North, and he's way behind now to Schubert.
It was an 8-10 pitch at-bat. Fatiguing emotionally, I think, for Ornelas more than it was physically, and he lost the battle because he didn't throw a strike, not because the guy got a base hit. So a little different right there. That's a different approach.
So Schubert way out in front takes this pitch inside, a 4-pitch walk. So back-to-back walks. That brings up Greeley, and Bo Phillip, who has absolutely torched Panther pitching this season, is on deck. So Greeley becomes a potentially very important hitter in this game.
Yeah, anytime you can roll that lineup over and get a good at-bat out of your 9-hole guy, that is going to help your cause. And like I say, anything you can do to keep this potent Delta offense limited opportunities to score with their bats. Sometimes they score with their feet, and sometimes they score because the other team doesn't play catch. But if you get traffic, someone's going to get one up the gap. So you try and keep that base path traffic down to a minimum.
Well, we have marveled at the defensive work and the arm of Thomas Greeley behind the plate, but he's no light-hitting receiver. 330, the average on the season, a home run, 24 runs batted in. So
I don't think light hitting, I don't think that's in the dictionary at Delta.
The Mustangs don't do
They don't have that book in the library.
Yeah, Rosario got the start in Game 2 on opening night here on Saturday night. But, boy, it's hard to imagine. Yeah, Greeley, this is his 44th game that he's played, his 35th start. So he's, I think, at the top of the depth chart at that catcher position. Rosario, as we say, started on Saturday night, but it's been Greeley ever since.
And Greeley still could have been, he could have been sick, he could have been dinged up.
Yep.
You know, he could have been a number of things. Working on a final. We're still in college around here in a lot of places.
I remember a long time ago. Bunted up the third base line, but foul, and I don't know if Greeley maybe spied something from Garza, wanted to challenge him, but he misses on the bunt attempt, and it's no balls and 2 strikes.
So, Jeff, what is your alma mater?
Well, there's my undergrad was at a small sort of liberal arts college in downtown Chicago, Columbia College. And went there for broadcast journalism, many years ago. A ball and 2 strikes.
Successful for sure. And you have graduate work as well?
Yeah, I stepped away from it for about 20 years, but I came back. Yes, I did attend graduate school at Pepperdine University out here.
Wow.
Yeah, so.
That's big time.
Yeah.
I have a daughter who has her MBA from Pep.
Yeah, she probably went to the pretty one in Malibu right on the ocean.
She did.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
But the extension.
Yeah.
That's where the graduation was, so it was quite a bit of traffic in and out that day, I remember, but we're proud of her.
Yeah, of course, yeah, absolutely.
That's the mother of my baseball grandson we talked about yesterday, Camden Wright. So hopefully they're celebrating Memorial Day without their grandpa.
Well, maybe they're celebrating part of it with us. Wouldn't that be nice? Cold, strike 3. Greeley down on strikes. Ornelas out of the inning. No runs, no hits, no errors. 2 left on base, heading to the bottom of the 2nd. Sacramento City trying to stay alive. They lead it 2-1. It's the 3C2A Baseball Championship Monday on SoCalCollegeSports.com. bottom of the second inning and the bottom of the order due up. For Sacramento City, it'll be Daniel Walsh, Brett Bello, Ruben Garza, and then the top of the order, if anybody can reach for the Panthers. Walsh, the third baseman, stands in. Batting .255, no home runs, 16 runs batted in. That one got the bat as it was nearly behind Daniel Walsh, but it's just going to be a tough luck foul ball for Daniel Walsh.
Things are flying around like Game of Thrones here this morning. So
well, we make the joke about Mike, a fan of the Bull Durham reference, a great reference of hitting the mascot from Bull Durham, and talking about he doesn't know where it's going to go. And Pierce maybe as much as anybody a candidate for that, as he has had a couple really get away from him here, and you know, you don't want to make too much light of it, but you see where the numbers in terms of walks come into play, and this one inside, and that gets a piece of Walsh.
Yeah, that's unfortunate right there. But the fortunate part of it, it hit him in a big muscle group that's a little softer than most, and he's okay.
Yeah, so Walsh going to head to first. Leadoff man aboard, and Brett Bello will be the batter.
Sometimes the ball just gets away. I remember one of my ejections in college was we were getting beat pretty good and put in a younger pitcher who hadn't been out there much. A little scared. Breaking ball's getting away. Hit two guys in a row. We got a warning. I mean, we weren't throwing at anybody. We're down like 19-1 or something crazy. And then another breaking ball gets away from him. He goes, "Sorry, Bones, I got to eject you. I gave you a warning." I go, "Do you really think a guy throwing a 50-mile-an-hour flutter ball to someone's back pocket is aggressive?" He just goes, "Well, I issued a warning," and they hit him. And I'm like, "Come on. I've only been ejected 3 times in my life, and that's going to be one of them." So sometimes in the airified air of new experiences,
he didn't when he said that the flutter ball seems aggressive to you, and he didn't come back with, "That's just how clever you are." See, I think you were anticipating that.
Well,
that's how you're trying to fool us.
Of course I try to talk my way out of it.
With your misdirection, with your circular logic.
He wasn't your average CHP, I guess, huh?
Line drive, base hit, first 2 on in the bottom of the second. Walsh hit by a pitch, and now Bello with a base hit. Struggles continue for Jonathan Pierce. Interestingly, Pierce with 3 starts on the season, but Garrett Munn has 7 starts on the season and 23 appearances, and we haven't seen Garrett Munn this weekend. And here comes Reed Peters, and he's going to talk it over, and obviously we're forced at some level to speculate about availability and who might be here and who is available to pitch. But Pierce, you wonder again, how long is the leash going to be here? How quick might the hook be? Because he is having some struggles.
Interesting observation, because like I shared with you, in between broadcasts, I've gone down to this third base bullpen Ted Lilly area and just kind of sat in the shade. And a couple of those times I've been with the Delta pitching staff. And yesterday I sat with 3 gentlemen, including Kevin Kyle, and nice young men. And one of them was Mr. Munn. He had this icy hot on his arm. And then after one of the broadcasts, this woman came up graciously and wanted to say how wonderful of a job that you and Mike do. She wanted to know why I was here. But it was Mrs. Munn. And she said that he'd been a little bit sore, he'd been a little bit tender, was uncertain of his availability, because of course I said, "You look like you're a Delta mom." She goes, "Yeah, my son's X, Y, and Z." And I said, "I think I was talking to him today out of Liberty High School in Bakersfield." So
we're not forced to totally speculate.
It's a long answer, but he might just still be a little bit
we got Bones here
under the weather.
So the first pitch to Garza. 1 ball and no strikes. Garza comes in batting .165, no home runs, 8 runs batted in.
And again, Jeff, to recognize the Fresno City baseball coach stopping by and congratulating you guys on wonderful broadcasts, as he told us he laid in bed for an hour and a half last night while we were doing the glow stick diaries and listened to your broadcast. So congratulations to you and Mike and your crew and what you do. Do a great job. It's really fun being here, and you're to be
well, it is.
Columbia College and Pepperdine are well represented when you're behind the mic.
It's a very large team effort. A lot of very talented people go into this one. Ryan Wilmore and Chase McIntyre and Emery Johnson, who does a tremendous job working with Mike and Matt Henson to put together the shots that we use and man the cameras. And obviously that's what's caught people's attention and, has, I think, and hopefully has brought a lot of enjoyment for people taking in the broadcast. So those guys deserve all the credit, not just a lot of it. This one back through the box, a slow roller. Phillip up with it. Did he get the bag in turn 2? And he did. So 6-3 the double play. Takes Bello off base, and now it's a runner at third, 2 down. And Creed Smith coming to the plate. 2 innings, 2 double plays behind Jonathan Pierce, and it's important here because we're talking about a 1-run game.
Somebody has a double play drone. I think they just fly in when there's an inning full of traffic and the double play is turned.
Let's just watch the play there, and you see the roller, and it's a break, I think, for the Mustangs there. That's one of those balls hitting the right spot. You see Phillip come over and handle a ball that could have been trouble. A nice play by Bo Phillip at short, but he's right there at the bag and delivers a strike to first to double up Bello. And now it's a runner at third, Smith at the plate, no balls and a strike. And if you're Jonathan Pierce, it's, hey, 1 good pitch, and
well, he just
I'm heading back to the dugout.
Right, double play might have been his best fastball after that double play. After losing command for about 5 minutes, he's back on track. And that double play ball was in a little bit on the hitter, the Panther hitter, and he didn't quite get extended and rolls into the deuce. But yeah, it's crazy how things can just change from moment to moment.
Creed Smith has hit San Joaquin Delta pitching very well this season as he fouls that one away. He's 6 for 16 against Mustang pitching on the season. He walked his first time up.
Well, Creed Smith, if you follow his stats, you'll know that he does a pretty good job against everybody, but just a solid leadoff hitter, competes, plays a decent center field, and runs a little bit, so he's prototypical.
Down to the count here, 1-2. High chopper foul.
He's the kind of guy who just puts the ball on the ground. He puts pressure on your defense. Could be a routine 3-hopper, 1 or 2 steps to your right or left. This guy's going to be safe. As I said, Sac City, Jake Gunther getting to second base. These guys sprint on and off the field. I think these guys sprint to the bus, and hopefully they sprint to class as well.
Well, they were the kryptonite for Orange Coast College, a team that's had so much success up here in recent years under John Altobelli, 6 championships for that school, and a pair of victories for Sacramento City over the Pirates have brought them to Championship Monday. So no doubting the bona fides of this team and their presence here in the final against the Mustangs. 2-2 on Smith. That one gets away from Greeley, and coming home to score is Daniel Walsh, 3-1. See, we'll get the replay if we can. And here it is, and this looked like one that might have just crossed up Greeley. Let's take a look on the monitor.
Let's see where he's setting up here. Oh.
Well, we might have lost our monitor. And we just caught the tail end of it. But either way, it gets back to the backstop, and
couldn't quite see where he was setting up on that little flinch.
Can you go check the monitor now? I think we have competing signals.
3-2, it bounces into Smith. He's on with his second walk of the day, so Pierce not done in the second here. It's 3-1 Sacramento City, and that brings up Gunther, who also has been very good against Mustang pitching this season. 7 for 17. Make it 8 for 18 as I update with the base hit that he had back in the first inning. So
that's pretty good.
Top of the order has been a problem.
And again, we've talked about Jake all weekend. Maybe it's just me, it might be selfish here, but just like his approach, he's so still, he's balanced, he's square. He does all the things to put himself in a position to be a quality hitter, and obviously statistically he is, and I'm sure he's going to help some 4-year program soon. One
of those guys. It's fun to watch the left-handers swing the bat.
I love
something about that side.
I love him.
Prettiest swings seem to come from that side.
If I had it do all over again, I'd be left-handed, and then I'd be Mike Cepeda.
Well, then you'd be spending a little more time in the basketball gym. What's the tallest player you played, coached, or scouted?
tallest player in a baseball program?
Uh-huh.
My first year at Azusa Pacific, I inherited the team, 1986. Had a pitcher named Craig Gutman. He was 6'8", and he looked like he was 6'90". He was the nicest kid in the world, and when he delivered the ball, it looked like it was like his hand was on the cutout. Great young man, fun to coach, and disciplined, good student. And Craig, I don't know if you're listening. Got a couple calls yesterday from former players, and hope you're doing well. But he was the tallest guy we had. Craig Gutman, 6'8". Had another game, Ron Bush from the Bay Area, from Kenyatta College. He was 6'6".
Another pitcher, or did he,
Both pitchers. Both pitchers.
2 balls, no strikes. I feel like over 6'6", as I'm thinking too. You know, famous major leaguers, over 6'6", almost always seems to be a pitcher. I'm not sure I recall a player over 6'6" that.
Well, how big's Aaron Judge? Besides.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe Richie Sexton's tall. He was maybe first base or
Kingman,
so. Yeah,
Frank Howard.
right about 6'5", 6'6". Yeah. You got plenty of guys in that height range.
Willie Stargell.
Yeah.
List goes
Another
on.
ball back to the screen. Smith gonna move to second. Trouble here for Pierce and Greeley.
That could be a trivia. Tallest baseball player ever in Major League Baseball.
Is it Randy Johnson? Yeah, it's 6'9". It's a
non-pitcher. Let's go.
Tallest non-pitcher in
MLB
baseball history.
Tell them you're tweeting. They start tweeting you.
Hey, listen, that's one that listen. You're allowed to Google, okay? Someone just happens to know that one right off.
Google lines are open.
What about Frank Howard?
He's pretty big.
Yeah, it's another big guy.
6'9", yeah.
Frank Howard might be my guess here, as Gunther fouls that one away. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Washington center. He played for the Senators, didn't he? One time?
Yeah, I believe so.
That was one of our trivia questions.
Yeah.
We were here last night, right?
But, you know, give us enough time. We'll bring it around. we'll bring it around to what we were talking about. We'll get back to last night.
We're back to the Glow Stick Diaries.
Yeah, 3-2 on Gunther. Jalen Johnson waiting on deck. 2 in the first, another run here in the second. And the Panthers trying to force a 1-game decider, have the early 3-1 lead. Line drive to right, but at North, who's there to retire the side. But the Panthers had a run on 1 hit, no errors, 1 left on base. Heading to the third, 3-1. Sacramento City with the lead. Top of the order due up for San Joaquin Delta. They trail it 3-1. It'll be Bo Phillip, Jordan Vujovic, Zach Mathis against Matt Ornelas. Working into the third, has the 2-run lead. First pitch to Phillip, who went after the first pitch for a leadoff double. Eventually came around to score. I mentioned how successful Phillip has been against Sacramento City pitching. He is now 10 for 18 against Panther pitching on the season.
So is that Panther poison? He's Panther poison?
9 runs scored, 7 runs batted in for Phillip. I think if you're Sacramento City in this situation, you're just happy to be facing this guy with the bases empty.
Absolutely.
The 1-1 from Ornelas. On the ground to short. McNamara ranges left and throws across to get Phillip for the first down.
Nice technique, nice crossover step. Got his feet around the baseball, made a nice throw.
Yeah,
first
that's
base.
with a speedy guy getting down the line. So McNamara takes that at deep short, but still enough on the throw.
And looked real comfortable in his delivery.
Vujovic grounded to second his first time up. He's having a big weekend. He's 4 for 9 as Vujovic, and of course he struck perhaps the big blow of the weekend in Game 4. Second game yesterday, came to bat in the 7th inning. Mustangs trailing in the game. Delivers a 3-run bomb and pushes San Joaquin Delta out in front. They eventually go on to win it 9-5. Meanwhile, Ornelas quickly ahead of him, no balls and 2 strikes. How much would it mean to Ornelas potentially confidence-wise if he could maybe get a 1-2-3 inning here against the top of this order, man? Cruise into the bottom of the 3rd, 3-1 lead.
Well, he would tie a 2018. You said it too soon.
You know that dream is moot. The hit by pitch just gets a piece of Vujovic, so now it's a runner on, and he's got to go to work with Mathis. How much confidence would he gain just to get out of this inning with no runs? I think would still pretty much get most of it done.
To get deep into the game and try and keep a couple more of those strong left-handed hitters on the bench as well, and keep his team in the ball game, and then get a little resuscitation to that pen for the Panthers.
Yeah, you think ahead to a second game, and these teams haven't gone too deep. Reed Peters has used 4 pitchers in each of the first 2 games, but often in very short stints. No reliever has pitched more than 2 2/3 innings. That's Nick Swanson. So Swanson and Rizzo have been the primary pitchers out of the bullpen. So Reed Peters likely has some options here moving forward. No balls and a strike on Mathis, who's now 3 for 10 on the weekend with a base hit his first time up. Vujovic with a lead, bluffs towards second, pitch high and outside, a ball and a strike.
Speaking of Nick Swanson, his pop, Mr. Swanson, stopped by yesterday to congratulate both of you after the game and said what a wonderful job that you did. And thank you, Mr. Swanson, for the compliments for our strong crew, Mike Cepeda and Jay Stowe.
I feel like, Bones, you're moving into a position to an informal position as SoCal College Sports greeter. They're coming up to you, and I think it's your approachable, affable nature. They come up and they want to talk to you.
They're just proud parents. That's all they are. They're proud parents.
Well, that is, listen, in all seriousness, that is one of our absolute favorite parts of the work that we do here is the excitement that people feel that their opportunity for themselves and extended family and friends all throughout the country, all throughout the world, who have an opportunity to see these loved ones that they're close to in action, get to see it live when they can't be here in person. And it's one of the things that from the very start has been so much fun for us in doing that. And so it's one of the great parts of the job, and we really enjoy that. So that's a lot of fun for us.
Engaged parents is critical to our youth, and we appreciate those that do that, and they are definitely here this weekend.
2 balls and a strike on Mathis, line foul.
I was talking to the Mount Sac head coach last night at the end of their difficult loss, and just we talked about Kevin Kyle, kind of a nice man he was. Delta and Mount Sac had quite a game, and back at the hotel, Kevin Kyle's parents offered to buy a drink to head coach John Knott of Mount Sac. He declined, but that just shows you how gracious these people are. And
Mathis
in competition,
down on strikes. So Ornelas with his first strikeout of the day, and now 2 down in Vujovic at first, and Cruz will be the batter, and that's a fun story.
Yeah,
to
it is.
hear
They're everywhere. I mean, they're just
know,
everywhere, and because we're all kind of in the same proximity, everybody talking to everybody, and people are happy. And I think it's the game. The game inspires. The kid inspires. Youth motivates us.
First pitch to Cruz in there for a strike.
and it can come sometimes, you know, ignite our own personal self-immortality when we're around these young folks.
Well, I think one of the things that's fun about this this event, as we covered, is it's intense. The fans are into it. There's a lot of programs and that have a lot of history and know each other, and they're into it. But also everyone's having a good time, and you know, just enjoying the really great baseball that we get to see. So
we are fortunate.
No balls and a strike, and we have constructed our cave here right in the middle of it. So we get to hear it all for the most part, and that's exactly how we want it to be. No balls and 2 strikes as Cruz way down in the count as we're joined by the Mike Cepeda. And Mike, as always, you're working.
Well, brother, we appreciate your patience on the broadcast here today. We've had a lot of early action in the ball game. Sac City up 3-1, looking to extend this to 7, but the Heat presenting some issues here, and we have had to make adjustments on the fly, but happy to report that we are up and running for now. And,
yeah, it looks like we got all our shots, and that's thanks in no small part to Mike Cepeda, Emery Johnson, all the guys here, as we alluded to.
Chase McIntyre.
Yeah, it's a big crowd. Long drive, left center, near the wall, and tracked down by Gardner to retire the side. So Cruz flashes the power the opposite way, but the ballpark holds it. No runs, no hits, no errors, 1 left on base. Heading to the bottom of the 3rd, Sacramento City on top. It's the 3C2A Baseball Championship on SoCalCollegeSports.com.
Nice.
New pitcher for the Mustangs. To start the bottom of the 3rd, it's right-hander Zach McCone.
McCone
making his 16th appearance on the season, no record, an ERA of 1.04 in 17 1/3 innings. He's allowed 17 hits, walked 3, and struck out 19. So
one of my
how about the the walk to strike ratio there for McCone?
Pretty interesting. One of my bullpen powwows with the Delta pitching staff, Mr. McCone was in a very elaborate stretching, yoga, preparation, warm-up activity, and he was a pretty thorough, physical kid, and unbelievably flexible.
Yeah, he was getting all his chakras in order.
First pitch in there for a strike. He'll work to Jalen Johnson, Cody Gardner, and Kevin Sines. Heart of the order due up for Sacramento City. They have the early 3-1 lead. Now time called. No balls and a strike. Johnson hit by a pitch his first time up. Johnson, interestingly, hasn't seen a lot of time against San Joaquin Delta on the season, missing 2 of the 4 games.
Could be an injury.
He's just 1 for 7 against Mustang pitching so far on the season. 1-2 now the count on Johnson, hit by a pitch his first time up. Well, now Pierce goes 2 innings, and so that could be, obviously there was a bit of a struggle as he gave up runs in each of the 2 innings, but sometimes is there a thought here to a particular design where you try to keep maybe preset pitchers, couple innings, this one a couple innings, this one a couple innings, maybe try to keep everybody at least somewhat available?
I think the term is you try and staff it, and then maybe you staff it with matchups.
Okay.
And sometimes you staff it matchups, sometimes you staff it with, changing a repertoire of one pitcher to the other. I mean, if we think about Pierce, he seemed to have an above-average fastball. McCone seems to have an average fastball, a little bit more herky, a little more breaking ball command.
Well, we talked about the 3 walks versus 19 strikeouts, and what does McCone do? First batter, he walks him. So they're on to us. Apologies, I believe I had the count wrong on the scoreboard. They updated it. It is a walk to Johnson, so now Gardner will be the batter. Gardner reached on an error his first time up, lines this one into right, a base hit. Johnson to second, he'll hold there.
Another great job by North getting there in a hurry.
Absolutely. And I wouldn't be surprised. Well, we got Mr. Signs. He gets the hit sign. Maybe he'll get the bunt sign here. And Derek Sullivan's small ball game.
How about this for a strange stat here for Sacramento City and a little bit representative of this weekend? 3 runs on the board through 2+ innings, no RBIs. I mean, all 3 runs have scored without the benefit of an RBI being scored, at least as I scored here. And it just shows you sort of the kind of crazy weekend that we've had here, runs coming in a number of different ways and from all kinds of angles. Who would think it?
Yeah, the unexpected is what to be expected.
Yeah, that's all we know for sure.
That's what's
happened.
Signs
grounded into a double play his first time up. Signs also missed a portion of the earlier series between these 2 teams, so he's working his way only into his 3rd game against San Joaquin Delta on the season.
And maybe getting Johnson and Signs in the game against Delta, maybe that had some, that had some impact on the series previously. Sac City feels a little bit better about it, and they're sneaking into Delta's pen a little bit, so we'll see what the outcome might be.
Yeah, Signs 3 for 9 against Delta pitching now on the season. 1-1 the count. McCone, a look at second. Here he comes. And Signs reaches out, just gets a piece of it. A ball and 2 strikes, the count now.
So McCone is kind of the guy that Emery's talked about, just doesn't give you much of the baseball to hit. You got to let it get deep. You got to think middle opposite field so you don't get out in front like Signs. Almost got beat out there with a little nibbler, trying to do too much. So I see, knowing Mr. Signs, maybe an adjustment in the offering here.
And we're joined by Emery Johnson. Talk a little bit, as we've seen a couple of different pitchers already, Emery, but McCone's come on and he's immediately in a bit of a jam. What do you see from McCone?
Man, he's mixing it up really early, which sometimes is evident of a pitcher who doesn't have complete control of everything. But he seems to be around the zone. He's just getting hit right now, and possibly just because his ball is a little bit flat. And I'm seeing the hitters watch it all the way in, and every time they foul a ball off, it seems to be going directly back to the screen here. So they seem to be very on it as of right now, and he's going to have to adjust something, possibly with his breaking ball. He just threw over a breaking ball again. That was a curveball.
Signs follows that one straight back. Yeah, Emery, I think it's interesting that he walked the leadoff batter, and then it looked like he kind of grooved one to Gardner, maybe trying to get his bearings, and Gardner was right on it and lined that into right field for a base hit.
Yeah, and you see him foul it straight back right there. That's very evident of a batter who's right on your fastball. That's extremely dangerous to be giving guys a pitch that close to hit. I mean, that ball was located right about at the catcher's mask, or the chin area of the catcher's mask, which tends to be the wheelhouse area for a lot of these hitters in junior college because they like to see that flat fastball coming in the top of the zone.
Outside, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Signs has been the big stick this weekend for Sacramento City. Six for 12 overall on the weekend. He's got 2 on here with nobody out. McCone from the belt. Here's the pitch. Breaking ball high. Gardner not giving him the high strike. 3 balls and 2 strikes. And
I think that ball was up.
Yeah, that pitch was up, and he hasn't been around the zone quite enough in order to get that call from the umpire.
Yeah, to be honest with you, that is something that I think has been pretty consistent across all the umpires. Is that strike up in the zone? They're not giving that, and I agree with you guys that one was a little bit high, but I think they've been very consistent on not stretching the strike zone into that higher area at all.
Well, I think we talked about it before. It's not a strike zone, it's the strike zone.
Yep.
And if the ball's not in the strike zone, it's a ball. And we don't need to redefine it on camera. We don't need to redefine it by an umpire or a bleacher. It's the strike zone. If it's there, it's there. If it's not, it's not. Do people miss pitches? Sure, they miss pitches.
If you watched the previous curveball, the one that was called a ball for the 3rd ball of the count, you notice it would cross the plate. It wasn't crossing the plate where it landed. It was crossing the plate right about when the batter raises his arm, right where about his elbow is, and that's definitely not a strike according to the strike zone.
The payoff pitch to Signs. On the ground, left side, it's through for a base hit. This is going to bring home another run. Johnson around 3rd, he'll score. Gardner rounding 3rd, he'll score. 2-run double for Signs.
Well, we almost had a collision with the 3rd base coach and Johnson. Johnson's turn was enormous. Not a good path to home plate if you watch this replay. Heads up right here, coach. Watch your lips. Look at that. He's directing traffic and watching buses come through. So, and his head needed to be on a swivel, and he needed a bungee cord from his mom to pull him closer to the box. But yeah, that was almost a complication. That would have been out. All runners return, dead ball. So
McCone unable to stem the tide as the first 3 reach for the Panthers here in the 3rd. They now lead it 5-1.
He must teach plyometrics at Sac City.
McNamara the batter. Signs at 2nd. Bunted up the 3rd base line, but foul.
Good idea. Good idea to advance somebody there.
Yeah, I don't think Sacramento City is going to be, worried about risking anything at this point, and it's all about getting as many runs as you can insurance so that you can get to that 2nd game today. So moving that runner into scoring position, you have no outs. It's a smart play by the coach.
McNamara struck out his first time up.
You find a way, and this is the Sac City way. So moving guys up 90 feet.
McCone checks the runner. Here's the pitch, high.
Plus, with McCone on the mound, is not someone that probably demonstrates a high number of strikeouts. And you're probably going to get some contact if you get the guy over to 3rd.
Especially with his walk ratio, you're seeing a pretty wild pitcher. Scoring to bunt is probably going to get in his head a little bit. And, you're going to take any advantage that you can get right now as a hitter for Sacramento City, especially with that 5-1 lead.
Mathis in at 3rd, Cruz in at 1st. Here's the 1-1. Bunted back to the screen.
He lost his angle there. He went after that baseball with the barrel instead of his body, and then all of a sudden you lose bad angle. That top head drops below your hands, and the ball is has a higher chance of going up instead of down. You want to fail down.
McNamara 4 for 12 on the weekend. It's hit safely in the first 3. As he faces McCone here, a ball and 2 strikes. Signs takes the lead from 2nd. The pitch back to the bunt toward the mound. McCone with only 1 play. He'll go to 1st to retire McNamara. Signs moves to 3rd.
That's an example of Derek's confidence in his players and his players' commitment to get it done. So I don't mind a 2-strike bunt. Obviously, it's one of those things. If it works, you get an A. doesn't work, you got to redo your paper.
Well, against the lineup that's in the top 5 and practically you name the category up and down the lineup offensively this season, can you ever have enough insurance? And no doubt the thinking of Derek Sullivan here. Any way we can get another one across here, we'll take any run we can get. They lead at 5-1. They have another run 90 feet away as Walsh stands in. Cone with the pitch. Line drive, another base hit. Sacramento City pouring it on. They now lead it 6-1. Well, they might not have needed the bones, but it made it easier.
Oh, yeah. That's he looked for a fastball, and it was down the middle. I think Emery would say it's not located very well, and barrel. And Sac City's got a little roll going right now. They must have good breakfast at their hotel.
Well, we should know. We're
oh, you're there.
we're staying at the hotel.
And where are you guys
guys
staying?
are there. I can only tell you that it's pretty quiet. I think they got pretty good sleep last night. No balls and a strike. On Bello, a base hit his first time up.
What's the menu there for breakfast? What'd you guys roll out this morning?
Eggs and turkey sausage.
Well, it was tough. They took away the waffle machine this morning.
They
so,
did.
you know, I was kind of upset about that.
I had been going with the cinnamon coffee cake anyway.
Oh,
but,
delicious.
It's true.
Wow, that sounds big.
So really, we just can't wait to get to the ballpark where JoJo can get us some dogs and. You know.
Was that JoJo that paid you a visit?
Yeah.
I might need to grab a JoJo dog today, just for tradition. Haven't experienced one yet.
A ball and a strike, the count on Bello. Pitch from McCone, off speed, in there for a strike. A ball and 2 strikes on Bello. Moving back and forth between catching and designated hitter. And he is putting together a very nice weekend, 5 for 11. He's hitting all 4 games now with the base hit earlier. So Brett Bello swinging the bat well, and here in Game 6, everybody's swinging the bat well. Deep drive to left. Vujovic moving back on the track, and he has the catch. 2 down as Walsh retreats to first. Bello gives it a ride. He was thinking long ball.
Just didn't quite get extended. The sound wasn't as crisp as you would if you caught barrel.
Yeah.
Might be a little bit more to the middle of the bat, so just got in on it a little bit, but you're right. He was on time for sure.
The wind, what there is, continues to blow out in the general direction of left center, maybe towards center. So you're getting a little help from the wind, but not a lot of home runs this weekend. We talked about Vujovic had one. Looking over at Mike Zepeda, if you recall, I'm not sure if we had another home run. We had the Vujovic home run. I know that.
That was Ramiro.
Oh, yeah, Velasco. Yeah. On the ground, back to the box. McCone up with it. And he'll go to first to retire Garza and the side, but another big inning for Sacramento City. 3 more on 3 hits, no errors, and 1 left on base. We're heading to the 4th. 6-1, all Sacramento City on SoCalCollegeSports.com.
Top of the 4th inning. Another crooked number on the board here on Championship Monday, Game 6 of the 2018 3C2A Baseball Championship. For Sac City, 6-1 on top of San Joaquin Delta. Delta has not dropped a game yet here at these championships. Up this inning, Jimmy McClanagan. Flanagan, Walsh, and North due up this inning. 1-on-1 from Ornelas. Pitch outside.
Well, we're trying to find that 1-2-3 inning. And here we are, Sac City, pressure, pressure, pressure. They'd love to see a 1-2-3. Try and get some consistent tempo and not let these powerful Mustangs out of the corral, so to speak.
Well, you got Ornelas up on the bump right now for the Panthers. And Emery, pitching corner, if you will. What do you see?
Man, he's a classic left-handed arm. He's been doing great since he readjusted from the first inning, and very happy to see the way that he's attacking hitters right now. Lefties are such a great asset to have in the bullpen, especially as starting pitchers, just because it's a different angle and you have less of them in the league. And if you can use your fastball as a left-handed pitcher, you're going to be successful.
2-2 chopped over to Jalen Johnson. Nice job by Ornelas getting to the bag to cover in time for out number 1. That'll retire McClanagan. Here comes Jack Walsh. Walsh 0 for 1 today. Feel free to chime in on the chat on YouTube. You can watch this broadcast live on our YouTube channel, SoCal College Sports 1, and also on our website, www.socalcollegesports.com. And a couple of people chiming in. Oscar Martinez, formerly of San Joaquin Delta, played in the 2014 and 15 championship. Came up short then, their last championship back in 2011. And Coach, we've talked about the regularity and the familiarity that Fresno has with San Joaquin Delta. They've been up here the last 6 times, or they've been here 6 times in the last 10 years.
Well, it's a tradition. I mean, they have a great program. They have engagement from their community. People buy in. You're seeing these tweets coming from former players, and that's what a program's all about. I mean, a team is one thing, but all the other peripheral items are part of a program, and they're essential to success. It isn't just these kids that are in fair territory. It's those around them that are in foul territory that are important.
And remember, this is Game 6 of the championship, double elimination. These two teams met yesterday in the winner's bracket. Delta prevailing to today. They need one more win for a title. Sac City needs to win to force Game 7. And will need to sweep the day if they're going to be crowned the 2018 3C2A champ. And Walsh quickly down via strikeout. 2 gone.
Well, they're off to a good start, but as you know, based on the amount of minutes we put in behind this behind these monitors, nothing is certain here. Leads they've been dissipated the whole time. A lead is nothing more than the end of the game at this point.
To the effect of the comment we were making about Delta, and they have such a rich culture of baseball. I had the fortunate opportunity to sit behind home plate on the camera for the end of game number 2 as I was manning that camera, sitting right next to the bullpen pitching staff for Delta College. And, they were doing charts, and that was, what I've spent a majority of my career doing, is sitting there doing charts every single day and looking at a speed gun. So I was talking to him, and a lot of these guys, it means a lot to them to be at that school. It's a culture thing like we brought up. They definitely feel it in their hearts when it comes to playing for that team. It's a great opportunity to play for a college like that, because the chances of getting out of there and going to the next level is what it's all about, and they do a very good job of that.
Absolutely. So they go to college, they have transcripts, they have what I call the academic Facebook. It's ready to go, and I've enjoyed my 30 minutes in the shade, and I've talked to the Delta pitching staff often. They're a pleasurable group. They're fun.
Yeah, they're making me laugh the whole time. They're really close. They all have inside jokes that they, they go back and forth with each other, making fun of each other and stuff. And that's really what it takes to have a successful bullpen, are guys who are that comfortable with each other and willing to, make it light when sometimes situations are tough.
And another thing is, their pitching coach, he kind of corrals them. They have a little about a 5-7 minute powwow, And that's where I picked up the JT Snow thing. I was listening to him share with his pitching staff about how JT Snow would tell him, he read on a blog how starting pitchers in the big leagues and big games would go 12, 14 extra pitches in the pen when they're getting hot, Emery, just to take that emotional edge off.
Yeah, it's a really good technique to do that. We oftentimes, when I was playing at Moore Park, had that same philosophy. A lot of times we would actually have me pitching in the bullpen right before I went out to go into the game, because I was a converted relief pitcher. And what it did is it kept me fresh, making me feel like I was going into the game for a relief appearance. And sometimes I would throw 6-7 innings out of the bullpen, but as a starter.
North draws a walk. He's at first right now, a 2-out walk, and there's Cameron Schubert.
Anyway, back to just, you use the word culture. They have one that's good. They play hard, and obviously they know how to cross home plate. So 41 wins, 43 wins.
Yeah, three programs this year, Coach. Getting back to the point of establishing the culture. OCC, obviously very familiar with Fresno as well. Delta, and Sac City. Sac City,
Sure.
they were a mainstay here through much of the 90s and the 80s, and making their way back here. And Mount Sac now under new management, if you will, and they've done a great job turning that program around in 2 years.
Yeah,
and finding themselves up here.
I think it's 52 years for Mount Sac or something like that. So
back in the 60s.
Unfortunately, I remember the 60s. They weren't a blur.
No. Speaking of blur, how about the Delta pitching staff adding to our vocabulary yesterday?
Yeah,
describing fastballs.
Back to Emery, we're talking. These guys are, I might hang out with them. They wouldn't let me hang out with them, but I'd hang out with them.
See if we can get a camera in the crowd right next to him.
Just one that's dedicated for him.
We need to mic them up.
The Mustang bullpen band. No, I don't think Reed Pitters let that happen.
We could do an E60, call it E61 or something, so there's no copyright issues.
No, I'm sure there would be.
Or last night we could call it E240 because that's how many minutes we were here. Mike, I want you to know I came up with a nickname for Jeff.
What do you got?
I'm going with Jay Stowe.
Jay Stowe?
Yeah. What do you like it?
I like Stoy, but I'm not averse to change.
It's all about his ties.
Chaser on the batter, please.
His ties?
Yeah.
Jay Stowe?
Yeah, he's the best dressed person in the booth by far. He probably could be easily the most handsome person in the booth.
Well,
I know he's ahead of one guy.
The self-deprecation continues here in SoCal.
We've had Tuna. He's not A-Rod to be with J Lo, but he's Jay Stowe for SoCal College Sports.
I've heard of too many Jay Stews. Slow roller over to short. McNamara gets it over, bounces it. A nice pick there by Jalen Johnson. Record the third out here. 2 left on for Delta. They still trail it by 5, 6-1. Panthers on top. bottom of the fourth. Panthers looking to add to a 5-run lead. Top of the order, Creed Smith.
Guys, really quick before we get into the flow of the game, I did want to make a shout out really quick and mention something. My mom's been watching the broadcast almost all weekend, which I appreciate. I appreciate all the viewership of, we're just cutting it together here. But she also wanted us to mention something, and this is also for Matt. Is today is Memorial Day. Originally known as Decoration Day back in 1868. It was, started by the Union Army to remember Civil War soldiers who died in the war. And, it's important to remember all the veterans who allowed us to be able to come out here and play baseball every single day in a free nation. So that was just my comment of the day for America.
Well, thanks, Emery. We started the broadcast with that dedication, Jeff and I, and thanks to your mom for reminding everyone. And it's something we can share throughout the day as Old Glory hangs at half-mast for a reason. And I think Mom's right on, other than wanting to see your mug on camera. Maybe we'll get a shot of our American flag that unites us, so we're here today because of that, Stars and Stripes.
McCone down via the strikeout, 1 gone here in the bottom of the fourth, and we have a veteran in the booth, Matthew Henson, and that flag at half-mast. That's due to Matt Henson early here this morning and making that possible. And Matthew, I tell you time and time again, but again, thank you for your service. McCone starts off Gunther with a strike on 1.
A lot of guys I played baseball with in high school and college who went off and joined the military to serve our country. And it's amazing how the culture of baseball flows through the armed services through and through. I mean, it's such a tight-knit group when you're talking about baseball, and a lot of guys love that camaraderie, and that's exactly why they go into the military, because they love each other like brothers, and that's the most important part about it.
First baseman at 29, Gm6.
Thanks, Emery.
Okay, I'll get back to diagnosing the pitchers.
Now,
don't forget that flag. That's as equally as important as anything we do today.
Bones.
Yes, sir.
When you and Jeff spoke about Memorial Day earlier in the broadcast, did you have Decoration Day?
I did not. I went with Memorial Day, and
you can remember the 60s, just not the 1800s.
Yeah, I didn't star in Outlander. Okay, so I was not able to remember that far back.
Galati now batting 2 up and 2 down here.
So I think that was the 1700s.
And this is going to be 3 up and 3 down for Delta, trying to muster something up. We head to the 5th, 6-1. Sac City all over it.
Top of the 5th inning, 6-1. Sacramento City trying to extend it to a one-game decider. And they're well on their way. It'll be the top of the order. Bo Phillips set to lead things off against Matt Ornelas, who settled down nicely after a shaky start. Gave up a run in the first, but got himself out of the first. And Bones, he hasn't given up a hit since. 2 hits on the board.
He's settled in. He's been effective, like Emery has said. He's been the kind of pitcher you want. He mixes and matches, and you know he's a guy that there haven't been a lot of quality swings since that first inning. He came out aggressive, energy.
Maybe the best swing of the day so far for San Joaquin Delta came on the very first pitch by this guy, Bo Phillip.
There's another
one. Shot back through the box. That's a base hit for Phillip, who continues to terrorize Panther pitching.
Yeah, I think the only time he's been erased today was a nice play by the shortstop up the middle in the same type of pitch like that. So
that is Bo Phillips' 10th hit of the season against Sacramento City.
That's pretty good, isn't it?
I'm just going to let that sink in for a minute. 10 for 21.
Let's see. Divide, carry. That's like almost 500.
That's darn near 50% right there. Vujovic will be the batter. And it reminds you, at the top of the 5th here, I wondered as I watched in the bottom of the 4th that they had that 1-2-3 inning. McCone finally seemed to settle in, and just how much momentum there might be of the Mustangs. They have to be brimming with confidence that they can come back from this kind of deficit.
Sure they do.
Not just on their season, but based on what we've seen this weekend from all 4 teams.
Absolutely. They're just looking for a spark, and a 1-2-3 can spark it because it's been rare.
So Vujovic, the batter. Here's the pitch. Lined into left center. Smith on the run makes the catch. Going to his knees, Creed Smith takes a hit away from Vujovic.
Not the first time we've seen Creed lay out, get extended, make a big play.
We're going to take a look at the replay here.
Good stroke, good swing. Just good play, good baseball all the way around.
We've seen a couple of balls like this with a little air under it, but placed perfectly. But you see Smith there closes the gap and able to make the catch as he goes to the turf. And the Mustangs slowed somewhat. Now 1 down. There goes the runner. Another line drive, but right at Smith. Mathis squared it up and hit it hard, but Smith right there. Phillip has to retreat to first. 3 hard hit balls. Let's bring in Emery Johnson.
Man, you know, our pitcher here, sorry, I haven't been paying attention to names just because I've been switching. Cornelis, okay.
Ornelas.
I have been switching cameras, so it's sometimes hard to get that whole thing taken care of. But
we give you about 5 jobs here.
Okay, so going back to what I was saying, you know, he's kind of giving up a little bit of hard contact right now. The hitters are starting to see the fastball a lot better right now, and that's where he's getting hit in the middle of the plate, so he needs to start tidying up his location. That was a great breaking ball right there. Draws a swing. I was actually talking to the Delta players about this hitter specifically. This guy,
Jake Cruz.
Yeah, Jake Cruz, very strong hitter, can crush the ball if he runs into one. But he also, in some ways, can be a little bit mental when it comes to being at the plate. So getting guys like that to chase balls, like breaking balls in the dirt,
like
right
that.
there.
Right
there you
there.
Go. Nice
back-to-back breaking balls.
Nice sweeping curveball.
To retire the side, the Mustangs threaten with a leadoff hit from Phillip, but they come up empty. We're halfway through this one in Game 6, 6-1, Sacramento City. Bottom of the 5th inning. All Panthers so far. They lead it 6-1. It'll be Gardner, Signs, and McNamara due up against McCone. Zach McCone works into his 3rd inning, coming off a 1-2-3 bottom of the 4th. McCone struggled out of the gate, but now he's set down 5 in a row.
Yeah, it was a great job of settling in. You know, sometimes it takes when you get a guy up early in the bullpen like that, sometimes it takes a second because a lot of times they don't have a lot of pitches to get ready, and that's a tough position to be in as a relief pitcher. I a lot of times got that job. We consider it when in the bullpen, we consider that guy the fireman, and what that means in definition, most people probably can figure it out. The fireman is the guy who puts out the fire, takes care of the problems. Even though he did have that tough inning when he came in, you know, your job is to try and settle into a groove and get the game to continue. So we'll see if he's going to be able to continue this relief work right now.
Yeah, Emery, as you talk about, the job to come in there and hold the other team, to contain so that you can start winning innings offensively and start to chip away at a lead. And yeah, absolutely. That was McCone. Some of it, he provided a little of his own fire by giving up 3 runs in that first inning,
tough.
but now he's got the job to try and keep him right here. Swing and a miss from Gardner. Off-speed pitch. And Gardner way out in front, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
A lot of times pitchers who are used to long relief roles get put into that because they're the guy who tends to be up the next day. Unfortunately, they don't have a next day at the moment. This is it. So it's a tough situation to be put in. I definitely understand it, but he gives up hard contact right there on fastball.
Yeah, line drive up the line. Gardner digging for 2. The throw comes in, and he's out! Gardner elects not to slide. Can't say if that would have made the difference.
Oh, no.
But he's thinking 2 all the way. And Sacramento City loses a base runner to start after Gardner is thrown out by North.
Let's look at that base coach because I want to see what the first base coach was telling him. And you have the first base coach yelling at him.
Quick sign to go.
That was a big mistake by the first base coach. That completely lies on the first base coach for not calling that properly. I think that was way too close, especially with a ball out to right field. The ball is coming to second base. That wouldn't make any sense to me. I don't know if he thought that the right fielder was going to have a problem picking it up, but he definitely put a solid throw all the way down there, and I'm very impressed with the left or right fielder.
It looks to me like Gardner thought he was in there. That ball surprised him, and that's a little bit surprising. Once he makes the turn and he's fully into the run, that plays a little bit behind him, but he can see where that ball is and where North is as he approaches first base. So it's surprising to me that Gardner seems surprised that the ball was there.
Yeah, I'm going to put that on the first base coach. The runner, and that's also on the runner for not sliding and going hard into second base. You should never let up when you're running the bases, especially where you hit the ball. You should know exactly where you hit the ball, and so not sliding there was very detrimental to the way that play broke down for the offense.
The 2-1 pitch to Signs in there for a strike. Count evened up, 2 balls and 2 strikes, and that's potentially a big play here because you got Kevin Signs, who's swinging the bat so very well, coming up, and instead of having a runner at second or at least at first, if he elects to hold up there, it's bases empty, 1 out, and Signs at the plate. Here's the 2-2 in the dirt.
Trying to generate a swing there. I think John Smoltz and I share a very similar disposition on this. A lot of people are so up on the new home run, tilt angle or whatever they call it.
Launch angle?
Launch angle, yeah, okay. Shows how much I care about it.
Yeah, well, pitchers don't want to think about launch angle.
No, in some ways, yes, but John Smoltz
Terrific
and I...
play by Mathis to his left, and he gets Signs. Sorry, Emery?
No, that's on me for continuing to talk. John Smoltz and I have the same opinion, and maybe because we're both sinker ballers. I prefer a guy trying to hit the ball out of the park because the moment that you start trying to change your tilt angle, that's where you're going to give me the advantage as a pitcher. But the point being is that it is important to have base runners because base runners are going to disrupt a pitcher more than a home run is going to disrupt a pitcher. You're early on in the inning, you had no outs. There's no reason to get that runner to second base with a hot bat at the plate. And you would have moved the runner over in that case right there. That was a deep ball in the infield. No chance for a double play. that would have definitely caused some problems getting the runner, 180 feet away from home plate. And you have to take into account that whole play right there completely just ruined this inning, I think, for Sac City.
Yeah, it's a what might have been type of inning between Gardner being thrown out at second and Signs being robbed of a base hit as well. So it's 2 down, bases empty, and McCone maybe can get out of this inning facing the minimum. 2-1. Driven to center, a little slip from McClanagan, now comes on and makes the catch. The Mustangs flash some serious glove work. Bottom of the 5th inning in the books. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, nobody left on base. We head to the 6th. Sacramento City in front, 6-1. You're watching the 3C2A Baseball Championship on SoCalCollegeSports.com.
And we're almost to the top of the 6th. But in the meantime, spread the word that if your friends and family weren't able to make it to the Fresno Euless ballpark, that they can catch all of our broadcasts live on our website at www.socalcollegesports.com and our YouTube channel, SoCal College Sports 1. And if you have a shout out you'd like us to get on the air for you, tweet that to us at SoCal College SPO, S-P-O.
head into the top of the 6th inning. Mustangs trailing 6-1. They came out of the winner's bracket 1 win away from a title here in 2018, but Sac City with different ideas looking to force 2 and sweep championship Monday. Mike Zepeda, Emery Johnson, Matthew Henson, Jeff Stoynoff, Tony Barbone on the broadcast today, and we are joined by Emery and Matthew. And Matthew, we've spoken about it earlier, veteran of this country, and happy Memorial Day to everyone out there as well, and served in the Afghan war. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, Fresno today feels like Afghanistan, I'll tell you that.
I was trying to set you up for that specifically.
I read your mind. Well, you know, it's Memorial Day is kind of a tricky holiday because, you know, you've got a lot of veterans that made the ultimate sacrifice. Sorry, I wanted to wait for that pitch for the country and the freedoms that we enjoy today. And that's really what Memorial Day is about. Not to say that I don't appreciate everyone's support for the veterans that are, you know, still here.
This one chopped over. Could be trouble, but easy play made for Gunther. Now at first base, Galati moves over to right as Jalen Johnson comes out of the ball game, and Jimmy McClanagan is retired for the first out here in the top of the 6th.
Matt, with 2 separate tours of duty in 2 different parts of the world, or the same part of the world, but 2 separate locations, Afghanistan and Iraq. Tell me a little bit about what Memorial Day means to you specifically. You know, that obviously everybody knows everybody when you're in the military, or you always have a personal story.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, as is the par for the course for war, I suppose. It's a bit weird way to phrase it, but you know, everybody, if everybody in the military knows someone.
So over to Walsh. Walsh in the dirt, but picked out well by Gunther. That's a tough play made by Gunther at first. That is not an easy throw to handle, and him coming in, having not started at first. I mean, that's one heck of a ball play.
Yeah, I used to play first base, and you know, that's one of the hardest positions. They talk about it in Moneyball. There's a time where they get a guy who used to be a catcher who's not able to throw a baseball anymore, and they go, well, we don't want you to play catcher. We want you in the lineup, and we have a position for you to play. And he goes, what's that? He goes, oh, it's first base. And he goes, well, I've never played first base before. How difficult is it? And they go, tell him, Walsh, as Jeff just pointed out to me.
It's incredibly hard.
It's incredibly hard. What a great play by the first baseman there to dig that out of the dirt.
But anything worth doing is.
So, Matt, keep going. No, keep going, Matt. I want to hear your side of things.
But to, finish my thought, I wanted to get the play in there. But to finish my thought, you know, everybody that has served knows someone who has made that sacrifice for all of us. And, you know, it's today for everybody, is especially those that have gone over there, is really emotional because, you know someone that, like I said, has made that sacrifice. So to me, it means a lot more, and I'm sure it does to everybody else as well, than, you know, drinks and everything else. So, you know, like everybody has said, let's remember that as well. And, you know, I had the pleasure, well, that's a bad word, I had the honor of helping to send some of our fallen brothers and sisters back home from Afghanistan. And that was just a really hard day.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
Yeah, and you know, we appreciate everything that you've done for our country. We appreciate everything that everybody who has not been able to come home, everything that they've done for our country. And I bring it back to, you know, allowing us to be able to enjoy the freedoms we enjoy here.
This one hit on the screws off the bat of Schubert. 4 up, 3 down. And that will do it here for Delta in the top of the 6th. 6-1, bottom half of the 6th inning coming up. bottom of the 6th, and the Panthers on a tear early on. A couple of crooked numbers up on the board. 2 in the bottom of the 1st, 1 in the 2nd, and 3 in the 3rd. And right now it is 6-1. Mustangs drew first blood, but they have been shut down ever since.
They've been bleeding since.
Walsh pops up the 1-0 from McCone. Easy play made in center by Jimmy McClanagan.
The catcher, number 8, Brett Bello.
So Bello now up. And how about the weekend for Kevin Sines here, boys? He's on fire. Jeff, what are the numbers for Sines again?
Give me a moment here. Hold on a second. Seven for 14, Mike.
That's not bad. Batting 500. Meanwhile, Bello single into left.
And Bello's starting to put together a similar type stat line as he continues to hit the ball well. And really, I think going back to it, guys, if you go back to all 3+ games, very little trouble up and down the lineup for the Panthers putting guys on. It's been a pretty consistent show top to bottom in the lineup of consistently putting runners on base and giving themselves opportunities to score.
And one of the things that happened early, Jeff, that you mentioned is the runs were not scored via the traditional RBI.
No.
They were scored through the non-traditional means of what happened to X, Y, and Z. So.
Oh. Yeah, let's break him, get his transmitter in the shade.
Left side, near the line, and they're going to run out of room.
Break him, have him put a hat over the transmitter only, and have him focus in on the key shot.
Oh, okay. I see.
Got waters everywhere here.
Chase,
We try to stay hydrated here, Coach.
go ahead and set your camera
Either one.
on pitcher. Ryan, you're going to have...
Mike Cepeda, Tony Barbone, Jeff Stornoff with you on the call for today. Emery Johnson, we had Matthew Henson on earlier. We will hopefully get someone from Fresno City later on in the broadcast. Precious Gorostiza. She's a member of the women's soccer team, the state champs 2018. It was Fresno City sweeping the state championships up at American River late in 2017, and we had an opportunity to call that. Jeff, you called all of that on the final day of play there, and an impressive soccer program here at Fresno City College.
Yeah, big year, and they finished it off in fine style, winning both the men's and the women's.
Hats off to Ron Scott and his group. Holy cow, he's the head coach here at Fresno City. Always a quality program as well. And what a job they do in hosting this event. It's a great venue, and the work and effort that goes on between the 3C2A Coaches Association, Cam Olson, the AD, and Ron Scott here at Fresno City College is just—it's tremendous. It's a great atmosphere. People enjoy it, and it's a tradition now. It's been here for quite a long time, and it's a good experience for our young people.
Well, you do a fantastic job at this facility, and the grounds crews working hard. And a little break in the action here. Greeley, I believe, took one off of the bat of Garza.
He's a catcher, so you know he's tough.
And usually the umpire will look to have a break in the action. He goes and gets some new balls there from the dugout from Sac City. And meanwhile, in the at-bat versus Ruben Garza, 1-2 with a man on first. That one chopped over. Won't be a double play ball. Play over at first. It'll move over the runner. 2 gone. They're in the bottom of the 6th.
And that's Mathis continuing to field his position well. His ball that could have been a little tricky, but Mathis, good decision making in the midst of a play there. As that ball's in the air, you have the sense the wheels are turning. Mathis knows where he's going to go with the ball, makes the call on what his play is going to be, and then executes.
Yeah, my home guy's chance to hang another 0 here. 3 in a row would be big. Maybe that Delta offense gets kick-started because they just seem to be percolating somewhere.
Delta's going to have to figure it out here. Game 7 looking like it's very likely. And
you know, guys, there's a long way to go here, but if the Mustangs don't make any kind of move here, that'll be a first for this weekend. As such as it's been back and forth all the time, and whatever team takes the lead, there's been a response. This would be the first time that a team broke out in front and really just kept the lead.
Well, Matt Ornelas has brought out shutdown mode for Championship Monday for the Panthers. It's 0-1 on the top of the order. Creed Smith, man in scoring position. Creed takes that into left field. Vujovic there quickly. Throw over to first.
You know, Bones, I think Vujovic was in very tight in left field, and that made it so that Bello had no chance to score on a base hit, and that's a well-timed gamble there on the part of Reed Peters, but I think sensing that he can't even allow even one more run to get on the board here with only 3 at-bats left.
And I think it's part of what you talked about earlier, the familiarity that these folks have. I'm sure that Reed Peters might not have demonstrated that he can drive the ball. He's a ground ball singles guy. You choke your outfielders a little bit in combination what you said about strategy, but also scouting reports. I mean, this is the 5th, 6th time they played each other this year. They probably know which uniform they're going to wear. You know, okay, well, Delta's going to go with the dark tops and the off cream colored. I like those pants. I'm kind of a traditionalist, but I kind of like those. And then the traditional whites with the light piping.
Now,
State.
now, will they change uniforms between games here or no?
They might. I mean, you know, we can blame all this on Oregon. Everybody's got 15 uniforms now. What happened to white and gray? But then we went to a solid top, and then we went to X, Y, and Z, and all our vendors got in the mix as well. So thank you, Oregon, for expanding the 3C2A athletic budgets. And you're right. I can see, I don't know if there's a matching cream top for Delta, but possibly, and I'm sure there's a cardinal top that the Panthers could throw on. So we'll see.
First and third, 2 gone here, bottom of the 6th. And meeting on the mound, Dale Gardner will come out, interject, I'm sure, at some point. Or well, Coach, I usually don't see this. Are they going to have a? They're going to have.
Yeah, they're buying a little time.
Yeah, McCone's gone 3 2/3, and you know, we often talk about the conditions, and it's worth noting here today. It is hot.
You're probably going to get a left-hander. This could be Mr. Jordan, depending on the length of his hair. Yeah, this is him. So you bring that left-hander out. Situational
with the left-hander,
pitch.
Gunther coming up.
Right.
You know, Jacob Jordan will be your new pitcher, and you have to imagine Zach McCone pitched very well. Might very well see him in Game 7 if necessary. Right now, looking that way, 6-1. Panthers on top of the Mustangs. Back in a moment. Jacob Jordan, your new pitcher for the Mustangs. Jordan comes in with 2 outs, first and third in the lefty Jake Gunther at the dish.
Situational matchup here, waiting to get that left-hander, and Jacob trying to get Jake.
Jake on Jake crime.
Yeah.
Starts him off with a fastball in there, 0-1.
Got to get your Jake on right here.
There you go. 2.57 ERA coming in for Jordan, 1-0 on the season. This is his 9th appearance. 7 innings pitched, 9 strikeouts, 2 walks.
So it seems to be a situational left. Come in, Jacob, and get a left-hander.
0-1. Outside. Gunther able to lay off.
Jacob's got a tough matchup with Jake Gunther here.
Yeah, Gunther's been solid all weekend. He's 1 for 3.
He's going to make the point that Jordan looks like one of those left-handers that's very tough on lefties. He takes that step kind of toward first base and then comes from the side there, and that's going to make it difficult for Gunther to really stay back and pick up that ball.
Yeah, it comes off hard angle there for strike 2.
And he's down in the zone. I mean, he's thrown 3 pitches. Now, again, I think traditionally left-handed hitters are better low-ball hitters than high-ball hitters, but now we'll see what happens. You got a competitive guy at the plate that can handle the bat, and obviously a pitcher on the mound that can handle the baseball.
1-2, off speed, popped him up. McClanahan comes in, makes the play, and that will do it for the threat here in the bottom of the 6th. 9 outs left for Delta. Can they win it in 6, or are we going to see Game 7 here on Championship Monday, 2018 3C2A Baseball Championship on SoCal College Sports? Down the stretch we come here in Game 6 on SoCalCollegeSports.com. Happy you've joined us, everyone. Spread the word. And catch us on YouTube, SoCal College Sports 1. That is our YouTube channel. You can watch us on anything that has a YouTube app, Apple TV, smartphone, tablet, PC. Watch all of the games live and on their archive version.
Saw a great statement for your program here, Mike. I went to the restroom, and there was a couple people sitting on a blanket. One young lady was sleeping, and the broadcast was going on their cell phone. So they were snoozing and cruising and being coolin'.
Ooh, off-speed pitch.
CollegeSports.com and Mike Cepeda.
Absolutely filthy there on Bologna. Or is it Bologna? Either way. 3 strikes and you're down. Comes the top of the order, both hit. Yeah, it's great to watch somebody watching the game because they want the replay. Mm-hmm. They want the replay, not necessarily the live feed. We had a live feed on display out here on one of the monitors near the snack bar, and that's something that we've tried to implement this year.
Great addition.
We've had it at basketball. Will Cowan made that possible for us up earlier in the season, in the school season, if you will. For basketball back in March, Phillip 1-1.
Will Cowan lounging on the beaches of Ventura today. I'm wondering if he's using his smartphone to listen to the smart guys of Mike Cepeda and Jay Stroh.
I don't know if smart is an adjective that would apply. I think hardworking, definitely.
I agree with that.
Definitely in the wheelhouse.
Do you see how many keys are on Emory Johnson's belt?
Well, he's a man of many responsibilities.
Yeah, he's the locksmith of this group.
He really is. He got some tape on there too. 1-2. That could be trouble. Walsh over to first in time to get the speedy Phillip down the line. Talked about his speed earlier in the weekend. 28 stolen bases on the year for Bo Phillip, but put out that time for out number 2. We're in the top of the 7. Now 7 outs away is Sac City from forcing a Game 7.
And you continue to have to be impressed with Ornelas. 2 of the first 3 hitters reached with base hits, and both of them were hard hits. Settles down. Since that point, just 1 hit allowed as he works here in the 7th.
He's done a great job. He's just stepped in and done a great job. And I think we need to also remind Mike that we don't count outs anymore, Jeff, do we? We don't say with 6 outs to go or 5 outs to go.
Well, yeah, I imagine that the
someone,
Panther faithful listening are going to make, don't count outs.
Someone seems to exercise that, and then they go, oh, we're not done yet.
Well, we try to stay objective here.
And with the barrels in the Delta lineup, I'm not sure their fire's just squelched just yet. I think they might be ready to go.
Well, if Ornelas keeps on dealing the way he is, it's not going to matter.
You're correct.
Vujovic, now you're batted with 2 outs, 1-1 in the center field. Is this going to get down? Nope. Smith right there. 3 up and 3 down. Bottom of the 7th. Stretch time here from John Eulis Ball Department. That's the shortest 7th I've ever been a part of.
That's a 95-degree day, 7th inning stretch.
That's a 95-degree. We went 12 innings in Game 1 yesterday, 7th inning stretch. Knowing that there might be a Game 7 later today here in 2018. Sac City up 6-1, due up this inning. It'll be Galati, Gardner, and Signs for the Panthers. It's 0-1, make it 0-2 from Jacob Jordan.
Jacob Jordan's come in and done exactly what they need. Got that situational left, which has been his role. And now with a couple left-handed hitters here again, setting up.
Well, Coach, you talked about, being situational. I think the situation might call for him to eat up some innings here as we head into Game 7, possibly.
Well, I think this will be maybe a new role and a chance for this young man to expand his opportunities. But
it's a great point.
Left, you know, 3 left, it's strategic. Part of that's good, and we'll see what happens depending on the outcome of this left competition.
Here comes Cody Gardner, and Gardner's swinging a hot stick today, 2 for 3.
Yeah, he's been struggling of late in the last several games, but seems to be getting the groove because 2 hits in this game, as you point out, Michael, and not cheap hits either. He has put the screws on it, on both of them, and that's certainly a welcome sight with perhaps 1 game left to get that big bat going in the lineup.
Talked about that big bat in the lineup. You know, he's batting clean up today, but big bat is signs behind him. 4 home runs on the season. He's had one heck of a weekend batting .500. 1-1 on Gardner.
Jacob Jordan, probably known as a nibbler, needs to stay on inch, you know, 1 and 2 and 16 and 17, and not necessarily in the middle.
That one inside. Well, it's Dale Gardner, home plate umpire. Hal Simons at second. Is that Justin Haney?
I believe it's Havey.
Havey, excuse me. Justin Havey. 2-1, just missing outside, and nibbling away was Jacob Jordan, but not getting a call.
You saw Jordan go inside twice, then try to work back outside, but Gardner showing a very good eye to not offer at that pitch.
(3-1). This one hit on the screws as well. North giving chase, and this one not going to be caught.
Gardner going to try for 2 again.
Gardner's going to get to 3 for 4 now. A couple of extra base hits.
It's called the standard Sacramento sprint. They practice in between innings. They practice at the end of the inning.
Well, guys, last time up, Gardner hit a ball down the right field line, tried for 2, and in a play that was kind of odd, North over to cut it off, gets the throw in, and Gardner goes into second standing up and is tagged out to be taken out the base pass. So Gardner makes the adjustment that time, digging hard once again, and that time goes in on his belly, and he's safe at second.
An opportunity here for Signs to add another RBI to his total on the weekend. He has 2 today. He's 1 for 3.
This could be a tough matchup here, and this might be a pitch around type of deal.
Strike 1 on the outside corner from Jacob Jordan.
Well, I think it's going to be important for Signs in this at-bat to think about going back up the middle or to the right side. Expect Jordan to try and work him away. He started with a ball on the outside corner.
Jordan. Outside. It's a great job by Rosario. Coming over.
Yeah, they're playing musical chairs at catcher this weekend for San Joaquin Delta. It was Rosario, then it was Greeley, now it's Rosario. But good to have depth.
That's a position that, like we talked yesterday, you're just 1 pitch away from making a change every time.
Hardest position on the field.
As Emery just pointed out, hardest position on the field.
One of the most respected. Got him.
Jordan errant on the throw, and they're going to throw it to third, and moving to third will be Cody Gardner. Throwing error from Jacob Jordan. Coach, it was a good move. I think he had him.
He did. He didn't quite get his feet. What you need to do is make what I call a 190-degree turn. If you get about 170 and you don't get your feet on the other side of the base, then your throw is going to be probably a little bit of a bisect and back up the line. So Jordan didn't quite get his feet around and threw that ball into the shortstop side of the bag, which is what you don't want to do.
So 1-1 now on Signs.
And they'll come in the infield. Will the Mustangs.
In there, strike 2.
I think Signs, obviously as quality hitter as he is, we talk about it often. When you get these soft, nibbling guys, you got to think depth. You got to think middle of the field. You got to think opposite middle infielder's head, and that's kind of your target line. That middle is wide open.
He's trying to work that backdoor breaking ball. Get the outside corner. He's done it twice.
1-2 outside. Well, it's 2-2 right now, and got a pretty dangerous hitter up there.
Let's see if he dares to try and bust one inside on signs. If he can get in there, he might get one in on his hands, but it's a dangerous idea.
Got to get way in.
2-2.
In the dirt.
Well, the other side is he does have first base open, Bones. I can work around him. Be careful here.
Got McNamara on deck. Yeah. Oh, Kevin Sines comes into the weekend batting .262.
That's the average as of today, so it's actually even a little bit lower than that, Michael, and he's starting to climb.
3-2 high, ball 4. Well, maybe not somebody you would have pitched around before, but definitely have to be careful with his bat. He's been terrific on the weekend, and he adds to his total line, as it were, with a walk. First and third, 1 out.
Are we going to see a move here? As here comes Reed Peters, and I think he wanted to give him one chance to maybe see if he can get out of the inning and start fresh again in the 8th. But
is he going to go to center field again and bring in somebody who hasn't pitched all year and see if he can go the distance?
Hey, they're trying to avoid the 2011 fate and have 2 taken from them on championship day.
Yeah, because it was them versus Ohlone in the winners bracket, I believe, that weekend. San Joaquin Delta, both the South teams. Coach, you talked about we don't often see both South teams in the losers bracket. I believe that, I want to say that year, the South teams were in the losers bracket, and that might have been the last time that had happened. That was 2011 in Bakersfield. And Glendale and Santa Ana both lost on day 1 to Ohlone and San Joaquin Delta. Delta loses the winners bracket game, comes back and sweeps championship Monday.
Well, there's as much power in the north as there is in the south. And I think it's just, it's a situation where you just never, I mean, the way the baseball, I mean, this easily could be south-south. All the games that we've watched, it could be south-south for sure. This could be Mount Sac and Orange Coast.
Zach Tresemme, your new pitcher. Sorry, Bones.
Could have been a combination. I mean, I don't know what it exponentially works out, 4 times 4 times 4, or whatever it could be. So it could be a lot of things, and this particular time just happens to be that the hops or the breaks or the error or the base running mistake went against the South, and Mount Sac and Orange Coast competent teams are not here, but here we are again, and Sac City fighting back.
You know, Tony, I think what you're saying is generally true, and never has it been more true than this year. When you think back to the games that we've seen, and just some crazy finishes in both teams with opportunities, and that's a credit on all sides. You talked about Orange Coast and sorry, help me out here. Mount Sac, being quality programs and putting in quality performances here to get here, and in credit to Sacramento City and San Joaquin Delta, and you come down to making plays, and it's the team that makes one more, and that's exactly what we've seen this weekend.
I don't think anybody can be ashamed of what's gone on. It's just the bounces and the breaks, and it's baseball, and we just have to understand that that's part of the thing that we need to do.
So Tresemme, the new pitcher, the right-hander, comes on to face McNamara with runners at first and third here in the bottom of the 7th, and McNamara has a chance here to really drive a nail into the Game 6 coffin. Bunts it on the right side. They'll come home. The tag from Rosario, and they get him. What a play. Cruz coming in, and no doubt about it, comes home off the bunt from McNamara. They get Gardner at the plate on the play. Sines advances to second. So it's first and second, 2 down, and Daniel Walsh will be the batter.
Little discussion about
Are they
decision.
saying that maybe that the tag wasn't there? You saw Rosario kind of go to the sweep,
or he may
on the tag,
blocking the plate without the ball.
Dale Gardner, who's been around a little bit of controversy this weekend. He's had an eventful weekend.
Oh, he has.
He was behind the plate in a very emotional game, Game 3, our first game yesterday between Orange Coast and Mount Sac, and a play at the plate that was very important. The tying run comes across in the bottom of the ninth to tie it at 4. And Gardner makes the call, and we were able to look at it with our feet and kind of get it still, and it looked like Dale got it right.
I agree.
Calling that the runner safe and saying that he did get the plate. Nonetheless, that was a big play, and there was a lot of emotion surrounding that play. And then he was at third in our game last night, and the Pirates very animated about another call being made, and eventually there was a meeting regarding that as well. So, as we alluded to earlier, emotions run high here. It's
sure.
It's a big event, and a big prize here, and then the teams want it and the fans want it.
Sure, absolutely.
And,
absolutely, and like I said, Dale will have some things to put in his journal based on this weekend.
2 balls and no strikes. That one tails inside, but catches the inside corner. Try to give you the numbers on Trisame. .55 ERA, a record of 2-0, as he makes his 15th appearance of the season. 17 2/3 innings, given up 13 hits, walked 4, struck out 21. Fly ball to right, North, under it, and has it. So the Mustangs wriggle out of a little jam unscathed, no runs, 1 hit, 1 error, and 2 left on base. We're through 7 complete, 6-1. Sacramento City trying to force 1 game to decide it all in the 3C2A Baseball Championship. It'll be Mathis, Cruz, and McClanagan against Matt Ornelas as we move to the top of the 8th inning here in Game 6. San Joaquin Delta trying to secure the 3C2A Baseball Championship. They would do it with a win here in Game 6. If not, we'll go back to battle again at the conclusion of this one, with 1 game deciding it all between Sacramento City College and San Joaquin Delta, and All North final here in 2018. Mathis on the day 1 for 3, a base hit back in the first, an RBI single. That's been the highlight offensively for the Mustangs. And the fastball tails inside. Mathis leads off with a hit by pitch, sometimes from the most innocuous beginning, and that is certainly the hope of the Mustang faithful that surround us here at John Eulis Ballpark. And they have turned out in numbers, as they always do, to support their team. And Cruz comes up. He's had a quiet day at the plate. He's 0 for 3. Grounded into a double play to end the first, flied out and struck out. Ornelas has had his number. He goes to work here with a runner at first. Ornelas pumps a fastball in for a strike. For Ornelas, that is the third batter he's hit with a pitch. Not exactly news, but a willingness to work inside. Mathis away from first, fastball outside, 1 ball and 1 strike. And Tony Barbone rejoins us. And Tony, I made the point moments ago as it starts with a hit by pitch that's sometimes a very innocuous beginning, and that's been a story this weekend, and we'll see if Ornelas.
Well, he's done a good job controlling the leadoff man for sure. And now all of a sudden you got Jay Cruz, who's a thunder bat. He can make things happen pretty, with quite a bit of volume and pretty quickly. So.
Yeah, Cruz had swung the bat very well against Sacramento City so far this year, but he chases the breaking ball again. Mathis, meanwhile, breaks for second, and he will make it. So Cruz down on strikes, and Mathis to second with only 1 out. And boy, the way that Ornelas has pitched to Cruz,
he's
very impressive, and he just has Cruz tied up in knots right now.
Yeah, he's a little frustrated, which you would understand. He's been a productive young man all year, and now he's getting beat up a little bit, but don't give up on him. I'm sure he'll be back.
That'll bring up McClanahan. Yeah, it's maybe at this point, Cruz he's just looking to Game 7 and say, give me another chance. Let's give me a different guy to look at. Let me get back to work and wipe the slate clean.
He's pretty sure Ornelas won't be there in Game 7, I think.
Yep. McClanahan, the right-handed bat, brought in to face the lefty, but he's had a quiet day at the plate. 3 ground outs. He started 1 game earlier this season against Sacramento City and went 3 for 4 with 2 doubles. So Reed Peters, maybe trying to play the hot bat, get the right-handed bat in there against Ornelas, but boy, lefty or righty, it doesn't matter. After that first inning from Ornelas.
Yeah, he's been strong.
He has been dynamite.
Strong.
And,
very strong.
What a luxury, too, if he could get 5 more outs here with 1 out in the 8th and keep that entire pitching staff available. This one gets away. The high fastball will allow Mathis to advance to third, and Mustangs trying to push one across, start to chip away at the 5-run deficit.
There's not much activity in that pen yet. You might, it's starting to move a hair. But yeah, if you could get a CG in this situation, that would be enormous. You got to be intelligent, though. You still got to play this game before you play the next game, and so.
And as you pointed out, and I think most accurately, it doesn't take much to get a rally going, and especially against a potent lineup, and you play games, and all of a sudden you're looking at a tie ball game or worse, and they come back on you just that quickly.
And all you got to do is go back online and watch the last couple of games, the last couple of days.
Yeah, absolutely.
That will just verify your point.
In case you needed a primer. Fouled away again. So McClanahan staying alive. Mathis at third with 1 down. Not surprisingly, Sacramento City will play back in the infield. They'll trade the run for the out. Matt Ornelas from the belt.
Might need to go in to get the K.
Here's the 1-2, chopped on the left side. Big bounce for Garza, who comes home and gets Mathis. So Garza elects to throw home for Mathis, who it looked to me kind of broke on contact. We'll see. Do we have the replay for that, Matt?
Oh, he's definitely going on contact.
Yeah. And I'm not sure if Garza, where this is here, maybe he just decided that this was his best play. He's right there hugging the line. Good throw on the move.
The decision's right in front of him. He had, he had a vision of the entire play. He's trailing the runner coming to get the baseball. You see there's, 25 feet left, and all of a sudden Garza, who started shaky at third base yesterday, has really solidified himself as a defender.
That'll bring up Jack Walsh. Now a runner at first and 2 down after they get the lead runner on the chopper off the bat of McClanahan.
And those are some of the little things that we've talked about. You just don't get that hump at bat. You don't get that at bat that turns the engine on and gets another piston fire. And so.
Yeah, you're down 5. The infield's back. Bouncing ball, Garza to his left. He'll go to first and retire the side, and you get the feeling, at least in Game 6, San Joaquin Delta, sorry, this just isn't your day. And we head to the bottom of the 8th. They trail it 6-1. Sacramento City trying to force the decider. Right-handed pitcher Zach Tresimer on the mound. He'll work into his second inning, face Bello, Garza, and Smith, and offer a quick apology. Working off the stat sheet here, don't always have the full name, but very, very thankful to the very large San Joaquin Delta crowd here. Bones, I just went to the crowd and said, does anybody know how Zach pronounces his name? And sure enough, somebody knew. It's Zach Tresimer, the right-handed reliever. So Tresimer goes to work on Bello.
They've been, I was talking to, like I said, they stopped by and have complimented you, and I've talked to a couple of these parents, and we voted them, you know, besides Superfan from Oaks Coast, we've given them the award for best volume, Delta College fans. But
yeah, speaking of Superfan,
gracious,
I got
nice.
I'm sorry about that, Bones.
They've been good people chatting with him, so I appreciate those Delta fans.
Speaking of Superfan, I got to turn up the field mic, and that one off the face mask of Dale Gardner.
He's smiling, though.
I'll tell you, the umpires, the catchers, really getting beat up back there this year, and it's part of the sort of weird, wild 2018. Seen a little bit of everything, and balls flying in every direction, and I believe I heard Dale Gardner give the I'm okay sign. Yeah, he's going to go on.
Big smile. Saw his pearly whites. He was looking good.
He's a tough guy. Well, that's you know, they call the catchers the equipment the tools of ignorance, but the home plate umpires back there. I wonder if among umpires, line drive, base hit to left to get things started. Bello continues to just knock the cover off the ball. 3 for 4 in this one. Is the home plate umpire, do they consider the chest protector? Is that the umpiring tools of ignorance? You're behind the plate?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, it's a job that I wouldn't do. And you look at Dale, you know, he might be going trivia on height. He could be the tallest umpire I've seen. You know,
I'll
he's up there. He's up there.
I still think my guess is right. I think it is Frank Howard. I want to say he was 6'8", but I could be wrong. But Dave Winfield, another guy, a position player who was 6'6". Well, you mentioned it, and yes, Dale Gardner is he's the tallest umpire.
Yeah, he can see down into the zone pretty good.
Now that is, hey, listen, have fun Googling. That is a very tough trivia question. The tallest umpire in the history of baseball.
Well, we'll throw it out there.
Yeah, but in the internet age, I'm sure the answer is out there. Garza at the plate, meanwhile, with Bello at first.
We'll find out if anybody is really listening.
We had good chatter on the trivia last night.
Yeah, we had what happened last night was kind of interesting. Not only were we here till, you know, the cows came home and the street sweepers were out, but we had a lot of folks saying, hey, I really enjoyed your broadcast while I was laying on my bed in the hotel. And
it was that kind of night.
I'm glad we could be your warm milk for last night's sleep.
We were here late enough.
Yeah, we were reaching a little bit.
Hey, listen, we're not shooting for cure for insomnia with this broadcast, but listen, if that's what it does for somebody, then hey, we're happy to help.
They were wide awake. Ron Scott said, hey, I was just laying in bed. Listen, you guys, thanks a lot.
A ball and sorry, Bones.
Yeah, could you deliver us a pizza then if you really?
A ball and 2 strikes on Garza, who's 0 for 3.
I think dinner was water. I think. Did we have dinner?
Yeah, I think we had dinner here yesterday at about 3 o'clock. We
yeah, I think I missed
and we had to. Well, we got to go see JoJo. He takes care of us. So
I got to get on JoJo's train.
There's always options. Garza goes for the bunt. This one's foul, and Garza will go down on strikes. So Bello at first, 1 down, and Creed Smith 1 for 2 with a pair of walks today. And he has keyed this offense at the top of the order.
Maybe a little action here. Haven't quite seen the hit and run activity out of Sac City that I expected. Base running activity, people on the move that way, but not much hit and run going on. I thought we would see that some.
Smith came in batting .268, and I tell you, we've all been impressed with Creed Smith in the way that he kind of keys this offense at the top of the lineup. And I'm surprised watching him that the numbers at .268.
Yeah.
He feels like one of those guys that you often see here that comes in with the .350, .360 average, and
maybe got into a rut, had a bad hand because he dove for so many fly balls. This guy's not afraid to get dirty.
Yeah.
He's between him and young man North in right field for Delta, they're leading the tournament most balls dove for at this point.
Yeah.
I don't know if he in the sense in a preposition, but shouldn't.
Well, how else are you going to do that one?
Well, most attempts in diving for
which
balls
the most balls dived. Yeah, I mean, it's, you know.
Yeah.
You can't have it sound awkward. 1-1. In on the hands. Foul territory on the right side.
Not that anything we say is ever awkward, right?
I can't imagine.
Where's Emery Johnson when you need him?
A ball and 2 strikes. Gunther waits on deck. Tressimer trying to get it to the 9th and see if the Mustangs have what would start to qualify as a miracle here if they can pull off the 9th inning comeback trailing by 5. But based on this weekend, you have to believe in miracles.
Yeah.
Smith down on strikes. Tressimer, his 2nd straight strikeout. He'll work on Gunther now with Bello still at first.
Al Michaels in the house. Do you believe in miracles?
Well, I'll tell you what. If the Mustangs put 6 on the board in the top of the 9th, I'll give you a "Do you believe in miracles" on the
okay
on that one.
You got to. It's kind of like I was reading a little story about Jim Nantz and how he anticipates what he's going to say on CBS when someone wins the Masters.
Oh, there's a terrific story about Jim Nantz covering his first Masters. We'll see if maybe we can get to that. Meanwhile, a fly ball to center here. McClenaghan over, has it to retire the side. So perhaps good news in that you're spared the Masters story, unless I can bring it around to golf again. We head to the 9th, 6-1, Sacramento City, trying to close it out here on SoCalCollegeSports.com. Well, we wondered at the top, Bones, if what the impact might be that these teams are playing for the 5th time on the season, and I think the impact is Sacramento City saying, hey, we could beat these guys twice.
Well, it's kind of their turn, you know, that Delta's held the edge on them during the course of the year, and if numbers begin to ferret themselves out a little bit, Sac City, the surprise is the start. First pitch for a well-hit double to now we are a 6-1 lead.
Trent North with a single to start it in the 9th. Ornelas back out there. He's going to try and close it out and go the route here. Let's see if we can get a pitch count at the live stats. And Bones, I don't know if you can see there if we get a pitch count for Ornelas. 118?
That might be it.
I believe it's 118 at the start of the inning, so he's
up
there at 120.
Last check was 92, I think. And
he'll work to Cameron Schubert.
There's 7, 8, 9. I'm not so sure that this lineup rolls over. He'll still be out there again. But
yeah, Ornelas has really spun a beauty, allowing just 4 hits. He's scattered some walks and hit batsmen in there as well, but I think to the point that you've been making, never really allowed any momentum. He's gotten the outs when he's needed to kind of quell rallies, keep them from putting things together.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. He's been steady.
And he'll have to do it one more time. Curve ball outside, 2 balls and the strike on Schubert. And if Schubert can get on base here, that's going to bring this crowd into it. And maybe some decisions to be made in that Sacramento City dugout. It'll be Schubert and then Rosario.
Oh,
swing and a miss. He went after the high heat, and Ornelas hasn't flashed that too often. But
still a little velocity. Yeah, I was going to say, still a little velocity. That he got that ball above his hands, and Delta likes to attack that pitch. I'm not so sure they've been tremendously successful, but maybe in might be good.
Schubert lifts this one to right center. Smith on the run, but has room in front of the track. So Schubert hits it hard, but to the tremendous expanse of center field here at John Euless Ballpark, and Smith able to range over and come down with it, and that's the first out, and that'll bring up Rosario. Matt, can you bring up the graphic for where to watch? And let's remind everybody that we'll have complete coverage. If a Game 7 is necessary, we will have that for you. I believe it's 30 minutes after the completion of Game 1. You can find all of the games at our website, www.socalcollegesports.com. You can also search YouTube for our YouTube channel, SoCal College Sports 1. Please join us for Game 7 if, in fact, it is necessary. We'll have it for you every pitch here on SoCalCollegeSports.com, and should be plenty dramatic, so we'll hope that you will join us for that if Ornelas can come up with 2 more outs here and finish off the 6-1 score here. So Rosario the batter. Thank you, Matt. He struck out coming on in the 7th.
Watch out.
Lines this one over toward the Panther dugout. So Brian Rosario, who got the start in Game 1 back on Saturday night, now back in the lineup replacing Greeley.
Thought he might have injured his glove hand wrist in a play at the plate. They took him out of the game the next inning. This is his first return.
2 balls, 2 strikes to count on Rosario. Bo Phillip will be next. Swing and a miss. Oh boy, you saw the gas, and he gets it by Schubert before getting him to fly out. Now he mixes in the breaking ball and is able to fan Rosario. 2 down, and that'll bring up Phillip, who's 2 for 4. But the Mustangs down to their final out and staring a Game 7 in the face.
Did we expect anything different? As Burgess Meredith said, cut me, Mick. We're here. We're 1 out away from going the distance.
1 ball, 1 strike. The count on Phillip. Maybe. The 1-1 pitch to Phillip, bouncing ball to third. Garza cuts it off, but can't quite find the handle. So for the moment, Mustangs still alive. Let's wait and see how they ultimately score this. Garza made a nice play ranging to his left and might have had a play at second. Let's see if we might have a bracket in there on the program. I'd like to confirm the timing of the next game. Well, still no call here, so we'll see for Phillip. Either way, it's first and second, and Vujovic at the plate. Ornelas, first pitch, a strike.
All the intervals have been, it's not described there, so maybe it's
the 0-1 pitch. Strike 2 quickly on Vujovic, who's 0 for 3. Vujovic was hit by a pitch back in the third. Eventually stranded. Down 0-2. Ornelas ready.
Oh.
Vujovic takes the fastball high.
He backsided that one. He's up over 125 pitches, and that had a little life in it. Michael, I said that was a little fuzzy.
All right, and I just want to give a quick update for those joining us. It's 40 minutes, and then we'll start with the next game. So definitely join us on SoCal College Sports. Base hit for Vujovic. They're going to hold the runner at third, so they'll load him up as Vujovic delivers a single, and that'll bring up Zach Mathis. Well, Mathis at the plate. If he can get on there, you bring up the big bat and Cruces as the potential tying run. That's going to do it for Ornelas. 8 2/3. He pitched an absolute gem.
Outstanding job. Unearned run here in the top of the ninth. Should have been out 3. They should have been out of the game. But good move by Coach Sullivan, thinking with his mind and not his heart. And
it looks like they're going to go to sophomore right-hander Lucas Reed. We'll give you the story on Reed when we return. You're watching the 3C2A Baseball Championship on SoCalCollegeSports.com. So Lucas Reed, the right-hander on, trying to finish it off against Zach Mathis, who's 1 for 3, a single. He's also been hit by a pitch. Bases loaded. As Reed comes in. First pitch to Mathis, a little bit low.
The guy you don't want to pitch who's on deck. Be good to leave him in the on-deck circle if you were
maybe the most relieved person
Sac
in the park to see Ornelas heading out of the game, and he represents major danger here for Sacramento City. Lined on the ground, but foul. So Mathis a little bit out in front. For Reed, his 19th appearance, 18th in relief, a record of 2-2, an ERA, a fine one at 1.43. 37 2/3 innings. He's allowed just 19 hits, walked 8, and struck out 36. 1-1 on Mathis. Missing a little bit outside. 2 balls and a strike. The count now on Mathis.
That looked like it was aimed a little bit. All right.
Off-speed pitch, outside, 3 balls and a strike. Well, I imagine with Cruz on deck, this Mathis, of course, one of the very best hitters on the entire team, but do you leave it on the shoulder? Obviously, the big run is on deck.
Well, I'd take him to 6 pitches if I could here, unless he just absolutely adores the pitch. He did.
Lined into right, a base hit. This will score 1, make it 2, as Phillip comes across. It's 6-3, and with Cruz coming to the plate, representing the potential tying run.
Yep.
3 RBIs today.
Yep. Yep.
We look at the replay, and directly on point, Bones. Looking for a ball he could handle in a spot that he likes, and he gets it. So now it becomes a little nervous time for Sacramento City. Cruz, 11 bombs on the season, 58 runs batted in, and 0 for 4 so far today with a couple of strikeouts, but he'll get a look at a different pitcher in Lucas Reed on this at-bat.
Well, he's full of confidence. He's a dedicated kid. He gets his job done in the classroom, the weight room, his nutrition, and he is intense. So hopefully he can let the pass be exactly that, because he has been frustrated today. And wouldn't be surprised if they start him off a little backwards breaking ball to try and control the count.
Yeah, now if you're talking to Cruz in this situation, obviously, I mean, your mind's going to go to trying to take one out of here and tie it up in one swing, but anything that you say from a coaching standpoint to a player heading up in this situation?
I'd say big deal. I mean, what's the big deal?
Yeah.
I mean, it has some circumstance, but it's not anything you haven't done before. And
the pitch from Reed starts
had
with a fastball outside.
A lot of big hits in his career, and just go have a good at-bat, have a good time. This is what you want to do. This is why you came here. This is the risk you want to enjoy. So let's go have fun. Do the best job you can.
1-0 on Cruz. The pitch from Reed.
They are staying away from him.
And it's McClanahan on deck.
And you might get a pinchy hitter here coming up, you know.
Yeah, Dominic Paisano.
One of those left-handers coming off the bench. I would not be surprised.
Paisano with 4 hits on the weekend. A couple of 2-hit games. Goes after the fastball, fouls it straight back. And
pinch hitter. Possible. But the game's right here. It's in front of both these young men.
Vujovic at third, Mathis at first.
Jake processing.
Here's the 2-1. A little bit low. And I think Cruz, to me, it's a very solid at bat so far, and I think kind of right in the mindset I think you're talking about. Seems very relaxed up there, and he's looking for one in the right spot, and so far I don't think he's seen it.
I'm not sure they want any part of him, but we'll see here on this pitch.
3-1. Goes after the sinker there and fouls it off.
Young man's done a good job on the mound, keeping the ball down. Cruz hasn't offered that ball off the plate. He might be looking for something to drive, but now he's got to change his plan. He's got to look for something to keep him in the at-bat, keep his boat afloat here in the San Joaquin Delta.
Yeah, 2 down. Well, that mind never stops working. Full count on Jake Cruz. Reed ready. And now a look at third and back at first. Well, wouldn't that be quite a way to end it and somehow somewhat fitting for
got
the
nowhere to
weekend?
go, and he doesn't mean that much. The tying runs at the plate.
Here's the payoff to Cruz. Shot back behind and staying off speed there on a 3-2 pitch.
Ball down, a little bit of finger pressure, trying to get some late sink. Not a whole lot of velocity. I don't know if they would try and elevate here and have him chase, but Jake just needs to continue to slow himself down. He's been emotional a couple of at-bats. He just needs to slow down, pure up his ability here.
Again, the 3-2. Bouncing ball off the glove of Gunther, back to first, and they got it. What a nice job by Gunther over there at first. A momentary mishandle, but he didn't panic, Bones, and good job by Reed getting over to cover.
He was there.
We got the replay, man. We'll just take one more look at that because this is a ball that could have been trouble. I'll tell you, it's just a good heady play by Reed.
Yeah,
Get over there, too.
He's
Not,
over there.
not get lost in the situation.
He digs it out of the dirt. And Ernie Banks, sorry, Ernie.
It's a beautiful day for baseball. Let's give the final word. 45 minutes from now, we'll go with Game 7. 6-3 the final, Sacramento City. They force a one-game decider. We'll have it for you here on SoCalCollegeSports.com. For everybody on the team, thanks so much for joining us. Please join us in 45 minutes for the decider in the 3C2A Baseball Championship. So long, everybody.